Let's get it. get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day number 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021 edition, that is in the Bangladeshi region. And well, joining me along, of course, with the day is Necro. And yesterday we saw teams from Group A and Group B going against each other. But today we have two different groups. That's Group C and Group D. Quite a lot of new promising teams. And we've seen a few teams in the past, you know, A1 Esports 1952, of course, being one of the teams to watch out for. Even we do have the players from KS Axe, another team that has been spreading ruckus everywhere. So yesterday we saw a few teams that have stepped up really big. You know, talking about Infernal, Parasite, GX, Exentric Infinity, X-Blood. Then so we did get to see a lot of promising performances. So today, New teams, what are your expectations?
I mean, new teams. I mean, of course, I'm expecting some new strats as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's of course going to be the way like how they're going to be played. It's going to be like completely new how they're going to be playing and stuff like that. So I'm just like overall excited to see like how everything's going to be playing out today, because we have of course Sanhok too incoming in the map pool.
Yeah.
And what I really am interested about is seeing like how are these guys going to be contesting those small end circles, and especially when there are like a lot of people alive in those small circles, like how are they going to be thinking on surviving?
Exactly. I mean, survival is, of course, going to be a key factor over here. Yesterday, we did see the players of XP Blood Legion. I mean, the kind of gameplay that they displayed, I was really, really impressed. You know, they were consistent, they were good, they were getting those kills. But right now, what are they fighting for? Of course, the slots for the PUBG Mobile Pro League that we have for you guys. And 3 teams from the Bangladeshi region will be qualifying. And, you know, yesterday I did see the difference, the disparity between the 2 regions that we casted. We also did cast the Nepali region, and I must say Bangladeshi region is way too aggressive in their approach. Now this conversation might lead to a conflict, because it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right?
Exactly,
you are getting really aggressive, you're getting the kills, but you're somewhere falling short on those position points.
Exactly. I mean, I personally am a really aggressive player when it comes to me, like on my personal gameplay, and I do like people who are really aggressive on their personal gameplay as well. So like I really do like Bangladeshi teams as well, but when it comes to strategies and stuff like that, I mean, of course, we even casted Nepal ones, and
yeah,
of course.
It was the slots that we did talk about, but right now, let's talk money. We all love it, right? The moolah that's on the line, the prize pool, ladies and gentlemen, which is a massive $29,200. So the first position, of course, getting $3,900 out of it, and like it's clearly shown, those top 3 spots, after you go to the regional finals, there you will be battling it out, and from there, the top 3 teams, they will be getting the major chunk, and also those coveted slots for the PMPL.
Exactly. I mean, especially getting those top 3 places is, of course, going to be the main priority for every single team. But at the same time, it's like not everyone can be those top 3. Not everyone can, like, sometimes there's also a luck factor that hits, like, last second.
Yeah.
So you have to take under consideration all those things. And, I mean, getting even at the 4th is 1,600 prize. So it's not really, like, that bad if we take a look at that. But still, like, getting that 3rd place and 2nd place and 1st place is, of course, going to be, like, the more important thing, and, like, the more, like, as we say, the diamond to achieve.
I mean, it's like your stepping stone for bigger things to come, right?
Exactly.
Because you're getting those slots, you're going to PMPL, where you will be competing on a bigger stage against even better players for a rather bigger prize pool. So I think the 4th position teams will definitely, the money is still good, but you need you'll have your hearts broken because you're just 1 spot shy. You made it from thousands of people, but how do you get there? You need to earn those points, and we've been seeing the new point system from quite a while,
Exactly.
which was implemented from the last
True.
PMPL that we had. Of course, a kill heavy meta that we really call it, and the first position, of course, you get the chicken dinner, you get 15 points.
Exactly. I mean, as you guys can see on the 2nd, it's 12. I mean, it's like pretty much in the standard of what we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as he said, kill heavy meta, and of course, which is what I like to see. I like to see that bloodbath going on all over the place. I want to see a lot of kills coming through from all these teams, and we literally saw so many kills being thrown around and like stuff like that. So there are some like star players who are going to be literally putting on a kill show for us.
And adding further to the conversation, this meta is a meta where you can make comebacks, right?
True.
We did see Exentric Infinity having quite a solid lead after those first 2 games, after they got the chicken. It was almost around 25 points, but the next game and the game after that, by the end of the day, we did see XP Blood Legion coming up.
That is
so,
true.
the disparity, the difference between the teams is very less, the points. So, it's if you have a good game, if you go completely heavy on your kills, if you're firing on all cylinders, so I'm pretty sure you can solidify your position, or maybe be in the top echelon rather. So those things are of absolute essence over here when we are considering these teams playing. And now that we're talking about the teams, let's take a look at the groups that will be participating. And starting off with Group D, we have SLX Ironic, ARS Sinisters, ERZ Esports, and XCVSE Esports. So a lot of collabs being made over here by the Bangladeshi teams.
Exactly. I mean, as far as I'm taking a look at all these teams, one thing I can definitely tell is that we are going to be witnessing a show today.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There you go. We have C minor, Tofik, we have Sharp, we have Magneto. So Magneto is definitely one of those players that I'm really looking out for. Even same goes for C minor. He was also one of those promising players that we did see across the last PMCO. But moving along further to Group C, KSX, another team. A star-studded team. We have Sanhok, Meraz, INFE, and we have got Reed. These three players, I must tell you, INFE, Sanhok, and Meraz, are of course one of those, one of those teams that I'm really having my hopes high on, because they come with a lot of promises. They have proved in the past, and lately, I must say KSX has improved by aeons. To be honest, because initially when they were, getting into the tournaments, they were qualifying. Yes. But they were not able to, kind of figure out what was going on. They were really confused. They were kind of playing defensive. But suddenly they got a punch in their game, and they're starting to rack up kills, get those position points. The rotation is on point. So yes, I really want to see how much have they improvised on their gameplay from the last time we did see.
Exactly. I mean, what we see is like a lot of things come inside here, right? When the team synergy hits in, when you know how your teammates think, when you know how your teammates processing the game, you know what like position your teammate likes to play, aggressive, defensive, and if you capitalize on all those situations, and if you just go into the game, and if you know how your teammate's going to be playing out your situation and how he's going to be backing you up, it's definitely going to be way much more easier to like get those strategies on the board and then get your kills intact.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are continuing our conversation forward, we do come across the part where we take a look at the schedule that we have lined up, the maps. And it's pretty much the same, we're going to have this throughout. So Erangel, then we have Sanhok, Miramar, again Erangel. So Erangel, of course, being the bread and butter map of PUBG Mobile as we talk it. Every player that has ever installed this application in the game has, of course, played at least 30-40 games of Erangel. But my personal favorite map is of course Miramar, because of the mechanical skills that you can use, the rotations coming in, and Sanhok of course gets you that RNG factor. You want to see a quick bloodbath, you head into it, Sanhok.
Exactly. I mean, I personally love Sanhok because I just like to get those quick games going on. And as you said, you like Miramar. I mean, Miramar is the map where you do take a lot of time to actually get to this end zone and then get those early rotation into. Like, Miramar is a map where you do need a lot of like protection, but at the same time you need to get those early rotations in, so you're going to be having a lot of bullets thrown at you. But as you talked about Erangel being all the time inside, because I feel like Erangel is a map where it's like really well balanced map. You have cover all over the place, as well as the same time you have those riches, those trees everywhere to hide and take a positioning behind and stuff like that. So I feel like Erangel is like a pretty well balanced, and just like overall it's just a really good map.
The only reason why I love Miramar is because of the rotations that you can take. It gets very technical. You have to figure out how do you rotate. You've got no cover. How do you build a cover for yourself? There are those terrains which are really difficult to traverse around. How do you get around that? And yesterday we did see the players of IPGX, if I'm not wrong, they did take that higher hill onto the eastern side of the Los Leones, and they capitalized on that situation. But today they are not playing with us. They will be sitting on the sidelines, ladies and gentlemen, as the game number 1 is live in Erangel. So let's just head into the action and see what we have from around here.
Beautiful plane fly path coming here. I mean, I really love this plane fly path, because it's like wherever you want to go, it's from the bottom to the top. So it's like you can literally contest on any position you want. Even if you want to go to hospital, it shouldn't be that big of a deal to actually just get there.
Yeah, of course, talking about the flight path trajectory, well, we do like it because we might get to see a lot of vehicular manslaughter over here, because considering the fact that it's kind of eastern tilted, so a lot of teams are going to have a lot of trouble getting the, traveling down so far. You want to get to Gatka, you want to get to Georgia Paul, maybe Zarki. We did see a few teams, in fact, in the other region that we casted, that Nepali region, a lot of teams decided to go to Zarki. But today, let's see, Primorsk is even kind of far-fetched, but we do have some early fights, I believe, that's engaging around Novoripnoi, as there are 2 teams over there, and they might just get into action anytime soon.
Exactly. I mean, I am really excited to see how they're going to be playing around Nova Rupno because we know the containers area is definitely a lot open space, but at the same time, it does have a lot of cover too. Like if you get caught in open ground, if you're just trying to run towards your teammate or anything like that, if you just get unfortunately caught in the open ground, that can be almost a like just death for your life right there. But if you're lucky enough, you can also contest the enemy's positioning and then just work around it.
Yeah, that you certainly can. And, talking about Nova Ripnoy, we have CNC Genocide X going against SLX Ironic. So here we are. And you can see, okay, so it's quite an interesting approach. I mean, SLX having the majority of the Nova Ripnoy containers and even those houses because they kind of pincering them down, right? You can see 3 players of CNC Genocide at one place. Of course, they are together. One of their players gets knocked out, the other can just come and revive. But at the same time, the players of SLX Ironic can really spread out. If they start clawing down onto them, if they get that first knock, if they get those extra bit of information, I think this fight can go either ways. But coming back, we have our teams in Pochinki. We have team ALK9. So again, getting back over here, teams are really going in for the loot. Yeah, that's what you do when you are in Nova Ripnoy. Get back to the houses, collect that extra information, block all the exits for CNC, and they're basically done.
Oh, I like the setup here. As you guys can see, one of the teammates from SLX is actually on the complete left side, right in front of CNC. Now, what is going to be interesting to see is that is CNC going to be capitalizing on the enemy team's possession, which is going to be SLX? Because if they spot Koa and if they decide to shoot at him, of course his teammates got his back, and he's going to be shooting them from the left side completely. So that's going to be a massive cover from him. But at the same time, we saw Afshad. He does spot one of the players from SLX there, but does going to be missing a lot of shots. I mean, it's not really a big of a deal. It was kind of a hard shot to hit, but at the same time, the information that he has called out for his teammates is going to be doing wonders.
I was kind of disappointed that he missed those shots. Had that M16 and the range that he was playing around was the ideal, the perfect range as we can call it. It was a perfect mid-range combat. All he had to do was just connect those shots. Those 3 busts would have easily connected and could have done some heavy damage. But, the players of Team SLX, they somehow did manage, to escape from that situation. That's Koa in the case going against Ashfaq. So now Gentleman is also present over there, and SLX are kind of isolating Ashfaq over here, where they can easily commit for the push. But at the same time, committing so many players, gives the other players to actually rotate around and get enough time to come back for his help. So Ashfaq in a whole world of trouble as 4 people are just going after him. And there you go, Gentleman getting that knock onto him, and Ashfaq is a dead meat.
Unfortunate for Ashfaq there, got caught all by himself. His teammate didn't really seem like they were quite next to him or around him. And SLX realized that, and they all just pushed with a 4-man. As you guys can see, 2 of the SLX players just literally bought the Dacia next to him, and Ashfaq had no other choice than to reposition himself, and then he just got caught off guard. But at the same time, this is what we were talking about, right? Like, as I was talking, as you said, they were like completely like separated out from each other. They're not really close to each other, and this is what actually played out for SLX, and this is what where they got lucky. But at the same time, as CNC, they are completely on the container side. Now, SLX, do they realize where CNC is? This is what the main question is, and how are they going to be playing out even if they do realize and if they do spot them out? I am also interested to see on like how they're going to be capitalizing on the situation, because it's definitely going to be fantasizing to see.
The strategy coming out from the players of CNC Genocide was completely flawed away. I'll tell you why. Because they planned that they would be dropping off at Nova Ripnoy, but they did not have a plan as to how to counter when you've got extra threats along with you. So the kind of a strat they had, it was a 3-1 split. So one of the players securing the vehicles and looting those compounds all along the way towards the bridge. And the other 3 players were easily, trying to loot around the containers areas. So they did not anticipate the players of SLX Ironic just coming down. And look at that. So one thing leads to another. They're already down to 3 men. So they're already losing out on 1 extra member. Now they're going for the board. Now they have to also rotate in 1,300 meters. They would have to traverse around. So that's going to be really, really tricky and interesting, because Gentleman is just charging right at death. I do not know what he was thinking, but that's foolish.
I mean, I don't really think so. SLX really spotted him there, but at the same time, he decided to drive away instantly as soon as he got shot at. We don't really know if he actually spotted him or not, but at the same time, SLX do know the position of CNC now. This is going to be a massive problem, but at the same time, if you take a look at the fights going on over here, it seems like Team 17 is in massive trouble because they already have one guy knocked out, and now at the same time, Devil is going to be capitalizing on the enemy's position, going to be backing off because he's a little bit low on his HP. At the same time, he needs to heal himself.
Absolutely, Chaser Evolution, as we call them. They're on a good run right now, and SLX, they want those kills. They're hungry for it. And Sulkar, he was retreating, but gets taken down. And with that, I believe we have our first team getting eliminated. And, well, gotta say, it hurts a lot.
Exactly. I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? In Bangladesh region, there are fights going on so early in the game, and this is actually what I like to see, It's actually kind of just interesting to see, like, how these guys are playing it out so aggressively. And it seems like CNC is a world of trouble right now. They are not doing well. But at the same time, SLX's one player is just trapped between two players, so this is going to be interesting to see how one of the SLX's players is going to be playing this out. There goes the knockdown, and there comes the finish in instantly. Now, SFX is definitely going to be a lot more disappointed. That's because that's a massive casualty right there. They were absolutely dominating CNC, but at the same time, CNC is doing a lethal amount of damage to them as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the point here is you cannot have casualties. You cannot deal with that. And, well, they are actually hungry for those kills. They've taken 2 members down of CNC genocide. But SLX, of course, losing out on one of their members. The grenade gets lobbied up at him, but doing no damage. So how long can this sustain? That is Team CNC. But at the same time, SLX Ironic, they need to know when to back off. Because I know this player, Yashiro. He's an amazing player. I think, I believe I did see him playing from the team of INES in the past. So he's got that experience backing him up, but he also needs to get that maturity in, because the more time you're wasting over here, you could have easily gone inside the circle, gotten better position, have been there, and maybe in those final circles could have gotten enough kills. Now look at them, they're just wasting the time, they're just delaying it. So this has completely gone off from what they had initially planned.
Exactly. I mean, what CNC doing here is that you're right. They're just like trying to hide away, trying to survive as long as they can, and then they'll try to find the best possible spot to rotate from inside the circle. But at the same time, CNC and even SFX are taking a lethal amount of damage from that zone as well, and their meds are being used too. They could have saved that a long time ago. But at the same time, I feel like SLX, we can't really blame them at the same time, because what they think is like these are 2 easy points. If they manage to get these 2 kills, these are going to be like 2 easy points, because they already know CNC is in a world of trouble right now. Like, they're completely doomed because there are only 2 players alive. At the same time, they're less on their HP, and SLX does capitalize on that situation. That's why they just want to pin down CNC completely. But CNC seems like they're just going to be hiding and not going to be letting SLX getting all those points for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, now Team SLX already losing out on Gentlemen, finally making their move inside the circle. As in the other places, we do not have a lot of fights going on. Everyone is concerned about the loot. Everyone is concerned in finding rather a better position inside the circle. And as we are speaking, Fahim having spotted out Devil from CSR, and will take him down from courtesy to those vehicle explosion. Also blows up Sidekick's vehicle. So CSR, they were just rotating, they meant no harm, and they were caught by a team who was well positioned in this compound.
Exactly. A lot of unfortunate situations there for CSR, because they already have a 1-man knockdown. At the same time, they're trying to get him revived, while in the same time, Sidekick is completely in open ground. So there comes a lot of utility usage. The smokes are being used too early in the game, while you can literally use those smokes in late game to position yourself in a better spot in those small circles. But CSR does need to survive this. They might be getting those smokes later on from any kind of loot and houses, which is pretty common. And at the same time, CSR does capitalize, and now they're in a safe spot, a much more better spot to get in a better angle and a better zone, and to get and to contest that fight pretty well.
Yeah, the first circle has already gone in. The second circle had already started to kick in, and CNC Genocide, they're having a nightmare right now. They're just on the verge of being extinct, because they're finally out of all their meds. They all they have is just one energy drink and 6 bandages on Kuni. That's going to be a very painful death that they're gonna receive. And well, one good consolation is that these 2 kills are going to nobody.
Exactly. I mean, what can they actually do here is try to like rotate off from all the way from the left. But are you taking a look at SLX? They were still camping and waiting for them to come out. But now SLX is gonna be like, they are definitely gonna be a little bit of in trouble if they decide to go and take from the first bridge, which is gonna be on the left side, but they decide to go on the right bridge because that's like the closest path and that's closest like spot they can get to. And as we can see, the farm area is completely clear, so they might be safe here for a while, but it's definitely not in the center. You of course want to position yourself as much as in the center of the zone if you want, because even if the zones shift to like even like any side of the like circle, the center part is of course going to be inside the zone. So or either it'll be just like easy and early rotation or just a close rotation.
And there you go, A1 Esports getting into action right now. That's 1952. So we did see a knock coming out from C Minor. No, they've got a substitute over here. It's one shot. We've got Sharp X, so some subs coming in. But apart from that, you know, I gotta say this circle just might head on to the Potato Hills, and Team TRA, they have got themselves present over there. Tawfiq making a rotation is kind of unaware about the players of team number 15, Atomic, making those sprays onto him, and well, some chip damage. He just peppered a few bullets, and Magneto is guy, bro, I mean no harm to you, just let me be. And,
exactly.
Yeah, he just travels away. So that was an easy escape for A1 Esports 952, to be honest.
I mean, those are just some suppressive shots coming in from Team 15. They just wanted to tell them that do not try to come over here because we are over here and we might hurt you. And they were successfully able to do that. So Team 19 decided to completely leave them alone and decided to take the other path, which is a pretty smart decision because you don't want to lose any of your teammates in this early of a game because the circle is still pretty big. And if you lose any of your teammates this early, this is going to be definitely going to be a massive casualty for you and your team, and especially if you're going to be the player who's going to be dying early off, you're definitely going to be a lot more disappointed and thinking at yourself, what did you exactly just do there?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a bit of a pickle that you might find yourself in. But A1 Esports right out in the open. I mean, a lot of questions are, of course, going to be raised over there as we have Stalker. Again, peppering down a few bullets here and there. Copper from Team PX Bit. So we got to see what they are really up to, because right now we're not witnessing a lot of close compound fights. It's just, you know, teams trying to fend you know, each other off from their own territory. And there you go, like we were talking about it, Sif, you know, falling down to the play zone. He was so off from his position, they had no choice, and they'd have to meet their makers. That's literally the play zone over here in contention. So Mashal, he's got a good position. And I think I like this setup from them. You know, they've got a 3-1 split. So Marshall is, of course, there in case someone just rams in right at them. But SLX, one of those players, Grove, he just went right in front of A1 Esports. But look at Max. He's spraying down those bullets. Will get that knock onto its Kova. But that's just about it, because from the sidelines, we have Atomic getting those kills. And the squad is wiped. COD Reborn, they're going home.
SLX was in a massive world of trouble right there. Those late rotation definitely got them in a trouble. So they should have rotated quite early there. But at the same time, we saw Atomic just third partying the fight and complete just wiping the whole team out. That was quite unfortunate for them. But at the same time, if you take a look at Sharpex and his team, which is one shot, they have a pretty good positioning on this whole fight that is going on, and the whole situation, the whole scene is actually sealed by them. They have all the vision as they can. But one thing they need to watch is their back and their flank. They might get flanked for any time. Like, this is what I'm talking about. All the teams always need to look at their back. Like, we never know. This is a battle royale game. Anything can happen at any time. So just try to stay alert all the time. So,
you know, we're talking about Erangel 2.0 as the Groza, you know, kind of falls down. We do see those new covers being created, those new dips. So this is where your knowledge of the map does come in. But you can see Captain, of course, taking down Magneto. So this is a big one. This is a big kill. And I believe that did happen while he was just rotating around. So he's gone over there. As you can see, Hassan will secure that kill for his team. as A1 Esports finally get themselves to Pachinki. But look at PXBet. There goes the push. Winter goes charging in right onto it. Hassan and Captain, as well, the players are getting kills for themselves. So Captain cooking up that grenade, and Hassan goes down to its Winter. Hassan making that push. It's absolute chaos. It's absolute mayhem around here, and complete pandemonium we find ourselves in, as a lot of teams are in contention for the control over Pachinki, as Chaser Evolution have been eliminated.
Unfortunate for Chaser Evolution there. That was a massive fight that was going on over there. But at the same time, like a lot of players were actually lost in the process as well. Like even some of the ALX people were actually knocked down, and that was quite like that. Definitely have gotten them a little bit flinched and a little bit stressed out. But at the same time, they did manage to take XBit completely down, because they just wanted to hold the comp, and all they were doing is just holding those entry points, making sure XBit is not entering from any side, and they were actually successfully able to do that.
Yeah, right now, A1 Esports, alright, they've spotted the players of ALK9 Esports trying to kind of immobilize their vehicles, flattening out their tires. And we also have the players of ERC-TRC Esports also on those right inside compounds of Pachinki. But, you know, Team TRA, now this is a bad position to be in. You know, you've got 3 players, all of them in one compound, a 3-1 split, but not the right kind I would want. You could have gone for the higher tower just beside you, just behind you rather. There's a tower. There's a 2-floored building. You get that extra information coming out for you. You got a lot of call outs from your team, so can provide try to provide cover fire even if someone makes that push onto its march all, because the entire purpose of being on a flank angle is that teams do not target you first, because if your position is compromised, I mean, I'm getting a 4-man cavalry in directly going charging at you, or your teammates are of course going to be helpless. They cannot provide you that kind of cover fire.
Exactly. Now, XCVS, Witcher, barely surviving the whole situation. We did see him medkit there, but at the same time, he does have his eye on those barns. But, I mean, there's like not really much going on over here. I'm pretty sure when the circle is going to be shrinking a lot, though, we're going to be seeing a lot of fights happening in the Pachinki, because especially when the circles are ending in Pachinki, it's definitely a chaos to watch, and it's just an absolute mayhem to notice.
Yeah, of course. Right now, we do have one shot from A1 Esports 1952. So the players of ARS, they've got the warehouse for themselves. You can see Witcher. He's just surviving. He's got a few bandages to just work it out. And any single moment he gets knocked. So not the kind of a knock that you want for yourself, but provided the situation, you can't go anywhere. So it is what it is. Now ARS, now that the zone has shifted, they're taking a different route. So a lot of M16 in display we are getting to witness today, completely different from what we did see. So every single day, every different team has different stat, different approach towards the game. So yeah, Demon. And I love the M16, especially those single taps. You've got that bullet velocity on the weapon, so you really can make some precise, crisp shots considering it's an AR.
Exactly. I mean, M16 is definitely one of the like single tap weapons, because I don't really like to use it as a burst. Like, come on, like who does?
At least not on mobile, right?
Yeah, at least not there. But at the same time, like M16 is basically like a Mini 14, almost like a Mini 14, not completely. But at the same time, I feel like M16 does have a little more like less recoil than that.
Yeah, a little more less recoil and more bullets in the mag.
More bullets, yeah, exactly. More bullets in the mag, and you can even spam it real like faster than the M14. So that's the advantage where you get that. But as we're talking about, as the zone is going to be shrinking, we're going to be seeing a lot of fights coming in. At the same time, a lot of suppressive shots on the vehicles that are rotating in late.
Oh my goodness, vehicles are flying already, and as the final circle starts coming in, the 5th circle, this is the circle where things start getting really intense, because considering the fact that these were Pachinki fights that we were talking about, we did not get to see a lot of fights happening during that mid game. Now we approach that late mid game area, so we'll have to see majority of the teams trying to compete for these compounds. And Yuri, where on earth is he? He's so exposed from behind. If some teams come from from back lines, he's definitely going to be taken down. He's got his eyes focused on the players of team number 14, that's ARS. Of course, he's going to connect a few grenades if he throws it and times it well. So you can see Rare already getting that grenade attack. So when you have these urban warfare situations, a lot of utilities are going to be used out. A lot of Molotovs, a lot of Grens are definitely going to be on display.
Exactly. I mean, utility is the only thing that you can use to flush out people inside the house that are holding the position and camping on the same position over and over again. And utilities is definitely one of the more important parts when it comes to like a shooting game or any shooting game, not just PUBG. But at the same time, in Battle Royale, it does play a massive role. But as we talked about like tactical smoke usage, like we're seeing the people are using a lot of smokes, but at the same time, they're capitalizing on Yuri's position. And Yuri's going down. This is going to be a massive casualty for Team 16. They're definitely not going to be happy about what just Yuri did there. Yuri tried to contest the fight all by himself and then got caught off guard by 3 players. They all pushed him at the same time. Yuri couldn't really do much. All he had to do was just reposition himself. But he didn't really successfully manage to do that. And Yuri has been taken down.
Oh my goodness, look at the position of the players of ALK9 Captain. They're sitting right in the center of the circle. A1 Esports 1952 will have to make a move in, and as we can see, the players of Big Boss X. So they've gotten themselves in quite an interesting situation. But look at the meme. He might just be visible any single moment, but Siddharth gets a beautiful knock onto it. Sanhok, Ehsan trades it off, but the push is going to be there any single moment. 762 spraying down on his one with his M4 and reducing it to the 3-time scope, but nothing much happening over there. And KSX reviving their players right out in the open without the usage of any kind of smoke. Now that's really not what you're supposed to do. They've got the cover from the rocks, but you know, one good grenade and KSX are done for. But Sanhok's going with the push, trying to get that flank on, but gets down to meme, and that's Meras, but can he get more out of it as Tofik falls down? A1 Esports also getting engaged, but KSX in a bloodbath going there against Team BB, who is gonna come out of this one as Sanhok, they just surround them, and with that wipe out the squad, along with A1 Esports going out of contention right in the first game on the 10th position. Bhai Brothers also having to meet their makers, and that is KSX.
That was an absolute iconic squad wipe, as I would like to say. Beautiful job coming in from Team ESX. And what we would like to see is, like, how are these guys going to be playing inside the zone? Because we already saw the fight that they came out from. They are really low HP and didn't really seem like they had quite those meds to actually heal themselves up as fast as they can. I mean, yeah, they can definitely heal themselves up, but if they get shot again, they're going to be in massive trouble and they would be completely doomed. But as you guys can see over here, Team ER already has a really good position on the top of the building. They have a massive high ground, but at the same time they might get sniped or DMR'd from anywhere, so they have to watch out all of their angles. Beautiful nade coming inside the shack though, but not quite gonna make it.
Did just get stuck over there?
Yeah, the nade just got stuck over there. Seems like physics don't work.
Yeah, I mean, let's not talk about physics, at least in PUBG Mobile. We've seen some crazy things happen that, you know, your eyes won't believe. God. But that was one precise grenade coming out from Rare over there, taking down Sajnu. But Hassan?
ARS Sinister has been eliminated off the game there.
Yeah, he certainly has been. Now we will get to see that fight happening. A lot of teams in really close vicinity, and ALK9 find themselves in a beautiful spot. The same can be said for PSR. I mean, as long as you're inside the circle, that is exactly what you want. But it's all going to come down to how many grenades you have, how many Molotovs you have. Do you even have a stun grenade? Because this is the absolute perfect time to do that, as Mamba gets a knock onto its Mad Max. But the push is still not here, because, you know, they do not really have to, you know, contend for it. They need to just apply for that extra pressure to get the room to just move around, while Malok tries to knock down the players, but it's White Cat that will get the knock, but it's Sanhok that gets killed and being sent to the lobby back. But Malok getting traded off, so it's completely confusing as how teams are engaging one after the other against each other. Hassan being spotted out from behind. It's absolute pandemonium over here.
There's a lot of body falling down all over the place. A lot of people are getting knocked in the process too, while at the same time a lot of damage has been dealt to each other. And there's a lot of third parties too. We need to cover that as well. And utilities that we were talking about, I feel like a lot of teams are going to be falling short in the utilities as the zone keeps on shrinking smaller and smaller and smaller. While at the same time, I feel like PSR is actually a really healthy spot. If you take a look at their compounds, they actually have 2 compounds contested from themselves, and they have those controls on the compound. Well, I mean, if we take a look at even ERT, right? Like they have a massive position over here too. They have those 3 shacks over there, 1 building, 1 shack, and they have a full wall on their name. And they know one thing, that there is no one behind them, so don't really have to like watch their back out. But at the same time, I mean, you do need to keep an eye. Like, you know, there might be a rat hiding anytime if I'm in their position. But at the same time, like if you guys take a look at near PSR, like there's just a lot of bodies falling down. But seems like PSR is in massive trouble because they already have 2 people knocked down. Now, it's definitely going to be quite interesting to see how these remaining 2 players are going to be playing out in this situation, because AL doesn't really seem like they're going to be stopping behind. They're just going to keep on pushing this whole push, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see how PSR is going to be repositioning themselves, because after one, everyone is just falling down. PSR is completely doomed in their position. They are just getting spotted from all the angles, and they're just getting shot from all the angles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now ALK9, they've spotted out White Cat, who does have that Kelly suit, but it's not going to matter because you do not have to, prone down in the cross anymore. But the scene, despite the fact that he knows that someone is in his territory, he does not really take those shots, playing very patient, being very calm in this situation. As well, finally we see him in action right now, peppering down those few bullets out there. But Rare will do a good job at dodging that one out. Atomic rather jumping inside the Suez. So let's see, Shadex and Captain, they're on the back lines. We have the players of PSR just randomly moving in and being punished for that. Vexy also might meet his maker any single moment. It's been a long time after which we are seeing a Pachinki circle, and all these players completely scattered, completely, causing chaos all throughout. Every single team going after the other. And finally, we're down to our top 3 teams with just 7 players remaining.
Exactly. It's just a lot of knockdown going on. But what I've noticed so far is that ERZ is definitely in a really good situation because they have all their teammates alive, while at the same time other teams, and they're just doing constant damage and the knockdowns. Like now AL is definitely in a massive world of trouble, because if ERZ decides to use their utilities, like AL is definitely going to be in massive trouble, and they would be completely doomed. Well, there's only one guy surviving from ALX there. It's going to be K9 Captain, just barely surviving in the corner of the house. And yeah, it's going to be, the match has ended, and it seems like ERZ is the one who took the chicken dinner.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful one, to be honest. That was a well-thought chicken dinner, well-thought, well-executed chicken dinner. ALK9 had the best chance of winning this one out. But I believe, there's a few problems in those graphics, so it's all right. It's going to be rectified. But apart from that, we do know ERZ are coming out on top, and that's what we are talking about, right? And it went completely chaotic in those end circles. So this is where we continuously harping about this one, this one fact. Go for those fights in the mid games if you have to, because you need to create enough room for yourself. Now, ALK9 did one thing good, was the circle prediction. They somehow anticipated the circle to be ending around the Pachinki area, so they made a really quick rotation around that. But what they made, the mistake committed from their side was they were kind of very stiff. Not a lot of action. They were letting the players, fight it out amongst themselves. And now, say that you're, getting 5-6 kills for yourself. You've got your hands hot. You feel yourself in the zone. And, we did see the players of ERZ are just charging in. And finally, that last rotation, getting that sewer cover, kind of gives you that low ground. Even kind of gives you an open space where you can just traverse around. You can be kind of immune to those grenades coming out, because that's a long area to play around. So a very well thought approach and a beautiful chicken. And of course, K9 did get those second position, but I certainly think that this was kind of that game to lose, and they kind of messed it up.
Exactly. I mean, ERZ definitely had those silver control where you have a lot free space to move from, and at the same time, as you talked about, like they will be having like a lot of free space, and the rotations like wherever they want, they can just reposition themselves easily. At the same time, ERZ didn't really hold that silver position for too long. In the end, we saw them pushing inside the compound using their utilities, and one of the AL team member didn't really have any other choice, and all he did was just sit inside the house and die to a nade.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna hurt. But, let's take a look at the MVP, the one man who really impressed us, and that was Mamba, who went big on his kills, 10 kills. And trust me, we did not see him in a lot of action because, fights were happening simultaneously. And this guy, 1611. Yesterday, we saw a player from the Nepali region getting 13 kills. That was Killer from Cops. But today, Bangladesh players have gone big as well. Mamba, I mean, of course, that's a really good way to start things off.
Exactly. I mean, that's a massive win right there for him. Mamba itself, like, oh my god, he probably has the most kills in his entire team. Like, he probably has done the star player thing, what he's supposed to do. I'm pretty sure Mamba is their star player. But at the same time, like, that damage numbers you saw, he definitely did like a lot of damage. While at the same time, he was taking those suppressive shots we saw on those vehicles, like taking those suppressive shots and dealing like a little bit of like stealth damage and a little bit of tickle damage on the enemy team was definitely a big deal in those damage numbers as well.
Yeah, of course, and I think this has been the highest damage so far in the two regions that we've casted. Let's take a look at the top players, the ones that will be joining Mamba. We've got White Cat. He did have the ghillie suit, he did have the Groza, and well, he has justified, the 1,000 damage coming out from him, those 5 kills, and even Hassan. So Hassan and Captain did manage to get 5 and 3 kills respectively, but considering the position that they had, they were sitting right in the epicenter. True. They had a lot of teams trying to struggle to get inside the circle, and they could have really gone for even more kills by the kind of potential that we have from this team. Not that this team played anything not that this team was kind of disappointing, but the promises that they showed, the early game that they played, they should have expected a chicken out of this one.
I mean, if you put yourself in a position like Avon's shoes or AL's shoes, I mean, what was exactly going on there? That they had that one compound contested all for themselves. They had it on their name, and there was definitely a lot of people just looking at them and just trying to throw nades and trying to flush them out of their positions because they were just trying to get inside the circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's take a look at the match summary, because we did have a lot of grenades. We did see a lot of smokes in the early game. We did see the players of SLX going after CNC Genocide. I mean, both the teams kind of made some mistakes, and considering Yashiro, a player that I consider of really high caliber, was playing, I did have huge expectations from this lad. I really thought that he would be mature in his approach, as we are still waiting for this match summary to come up, and there you go. The highest kills coming, of course, to its Mamba. We've got Hassan with getting the longest distance kill. So now this is acceptable considering the fact that the circle kind of ended around Pachinki. So that's justified. But massive numbers coming out from Mamba. I think 1611 is one of the highest damages we've seen in this tournament so far.
That is exactly true. I mean,
from an individual player, of course.
Yep. I mean, getting that damage number is not real easy. Right?
Yeah.
Dealing 1600 damage all across the game, like in one game. Like, how long can a game be? Like 45 minutes, as long as possible. And at the same time, getting that much damage, while at the same time in a game like this where no one's gonna be like making those extra mistakes. But at the same time, we saw Bangladeshi region is a lot more aggressive, which I respect a lot and love a lot. But like getting those damage numbers and surviving that aggression push, coming in from all over the angles and trying to flush your team out from all over the angles, like everyone was just using utilities and stuff at them, and they were just like getting naded from all over the place. Like they couldn't really hold on to it long much, because it's like if you see a player peeking at you and trying to shoot you down, you can definitely like counter fire or either do like a little bit of damage just to scare him away. But if you're just getting like thrown by a perfectly cooked nade, there's not really much you can do there.
Yeah, you certainly cannot do much over there. And as it's very vitally explained by Necro, let's just head into the match rankings and see how the first game turned out for all these teams. ERZ, TRZ with the massive 19 kills, 34 points just from that one game. ALK9 not too shy, not too far behind either, and 12 kills, 24 points. So KSX, of course. Now this is a team that did eliminate the players of Bhai Brothers, if I believe, and completely surrounding them. They did a fantastic job at that. But the problem started while they were trying to get inside the circle, and of course the players of ALK9 represent a lot of different teams who were also around, kind of restricting their movement inside the zone. But they still, just on the courtesy that they had a lot of kills going in for them, they did manage to get the third position.
Exactly. I mean, even AL is not that far behind, right? They
yeah,
still got
just
those
10
12
points, yeah.
They still got those 12 points on their name for the second position. And I mean, yeah, there's still like 3 maps to go. Anything can happen. Even the last team can literally just bump up there, just get those like massive popped off numbers, and just like get on top of the nerves and like everybody's nerves like that are playing in game, and at the same time just get on top of those leaderboards and show and prove us wrong and show us that they're one of the best too.
Yeah, of course. And we've seen a lot of surprise, a lot of ups and downs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just take a look at the Oppo Reno moments and see, how these things started off. And every fight did first initially erupt out in the Nova Hypnoid containers, with all these teams going after one single poor player. So what could have been really a good vibe for SLX? They did lose out on one of the players, suffered some early casualties, and towards the end, they just could not make it. But at the same time, A1 Esports 1952, again, this was one of the other teams that I'm talking about. A team that comes with a lot of promises and a lot of hopes, but they were not able to perform as well. So one thing that, in circles like this, that teams did not use, they used decent amount of trends, but, I could have expected a bit more. In circles like Pachinki, even 10 nades kind of are too less. But of course, you need to do those, loadout management. You need to have that backpack management. So that is somewhere, teams could really think of. But, while the circle had initially formed, it was kind of around the central area. And we haven't seen a lot of Pachinki circle in a long, long time. So the teams kind of initially thought that this might just go to Pachinki, but during that, you get that 5th or 6th circle rotation, you get that curveball, right? That's when the zone kind of would have shifted outside. So a lot of teams were actually not prepared for this particular circle in the end, but it is what it is, and ERZ, they did walk off with a beautiful chicken.
Exactly. I mean, especially when a zone ends in a place where there's like a lot of house and a lot of cover, those utility uses do come in. And if you're falling short on utility uses, you are going to be having a terrible time surviving in those in places like those, because as the zone shrinks down, as the zone gets smaller and smaller, you need to keep on moving. You need to reposition yourself. And if you just don't have those utilities, or if you just don't have those capability to do those, it might just be a massive and a hard time for you.
Yeah, and that it was for a lot of teams that could not really make it inside the Pachinki area right from the start, and well, they had to suffer. They had to get back to the lobby, but that was still the first game in. And today, I think yesterday was rather a very aggressive opening, where teams were actually going after each other right from the get-go. Today we did see some early fights, but that mid phase were kind of silent. It's a few knocks here and there, those long-range knocks that we did get to see. So, like I was just mentioning before, right? So, I did mention the fact that you need to, take some mid-game fights. So, you need to have some extra space for you. But as we are speaking, let's just head into the overall ranking, because we've already seen groups A and B already finishing all their matches, and XP Blood Legion still staying on top. But look at TRZ Esports. Just on that one game, they're sitting right on the 4th position. So after the 4 games, I mean, we can imagine if they continue playing like this, they might just go on top.
Blood Legion has definitely secured themselves for the top spot, but it's not going to be for too long here, because Blood Legion is soon going to be facing their opponents, which is going to be like more stronger, or either like as strong as them. So Blood Legion might have to step their game up in upcoming matches.
Yeah, certainly they will have to. KSX, they've also performed really well, 13 points coming out, and even ALK9, like we mentioned, sitting at 24 points. That's also a good start. But what is really going to be mattering is how consistent you are, because we did see teams like Log1 Esports, starting off really well yesterday, but by the end they were kind of shaky. They started fizzling out. Of course, they will be rectifying their mistakes. They will be coming tomorrow, and we would really hope that they play really well. But look at SLX Ironic. So what did they get out of this particular game? Nothing. Just a few kills here and there, and are sitting on the 31st position. What they could have rather done when you go for those edge plays, they could have gone in for a quick rotation. They completely skipped out on that fact. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading for a short little break, because coming up is Sanhok. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching day number 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladeshi edition, where we did have some amazing matchup coming out in Erangel. Now, we did see the fights getting really intensified in those final circles, but now it's Sanhok, your favorite map. So, of course, I've got to ask this out to you. What are you expecting?
A lot of utilities, first of all. The smoke's
We
going
don't
to be
get a
coming
lot
into
of smokes
play.
in Sanhok, though. That part really hurts.
Yeah, that is true, but at the same time, the smokes can get yourself some crucial revives in those crucial fights at the same time. But if you do get naded, then that's a complete story in the half. We can talk about that later on. But at the same time, Sanhok is a map where it's like really aggression comes in, like everything just kicks in, the adrenaline kicks in, but at the same time, yeah, it's just like way much more fun to watch.
Yeah, let's just head directly into the game and see what these teams have to offer as a similar flight path from what we did witness yesterday, going all the way from up Cow to its docks. But, you know, it's still a 4x4 map, so it does not matter how the flight path is. You can easily parachute your way anywhere towards the map. So we're going to anticipate some heavy action around maybe the Paradise Resort, maybe around boot camp. But, you know, that's kind of the reverse mentality that's happening. A lot of teams know a lot of things are online. So what they are really doing is they're trying to play safe. So let's see, a lot of teams have actually taken the plunge already in ERC, feeling themselves. And there you go, the circle coming out, a pretty much similar circle from what we just witnessed yesterday.
Exactly. It's almost the same circle, but it seems like this time there is going to be one team dropping inside bootcamp, though, because previously in the last games, we didn't really see anyone like dropping inside bootcamp. Bootcamp was definitely the no man's land for sure.
Yeah, but right now, you know, talking about ERC, TRZ, they're doing good. They've got a few unfriendly neighbors. And now this is a rotation strat that I'm familiar with. There's a team called DRS where the players of PXB are. So they kind of try to, you know, claw down the players from bootcamp. So they've got those small compounds that they're going to loot for. And the moment, you know, the players of Bhai Brothers or ERC, TRZ come out, that's when they strike. So they will certainly not be anticipating that. That's a clever strat coming out from them. But, you know, moving along further. So there you can see Bhai Brothers having the majority of the bootcamp in control for themselves. But ERC, TRC rather kind of opting for those warehouses. So it's going to be really tricky because someone needs to make the move. And, you know, to have this fight getting into action, you need to get a kill or two, at least 2 kills before you, you know, try to push through that trench and then maybe proceed and get those kills. So it's going to be really tricky for Whitecat, considering the fact that he is a lonesome wolf around a pack of hyenas.
Exactly. I mean, Whitecat will definitely manage to survive this because I don't really think so. BB does realize that, like, they do know his position. Maybe we still don't have any info on that. Like, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it doesn't really seem like BB seems like quite clueless when it comes to Whitecat's positioning. But at the same time, BB is just like busy looting the bootcamp loot. We all know bootcamp, how juicy it can be sometimes. You can get those crucial ammo, crucial nades, a lot of nades. Yeah, a lot of utilities. How do you forget about those? And a lot of long range scopes, which is definitely going to be helping you in those mid range and semi mid range fights.
Yeah, that certainly is going to help you. But, you know, Bhai Brothers not really kind of having the start that they would have wanted for themselves in Erangel, completely being, you know, suppressed by the players of KSX with the way they were kind of pounded upon by them. So now they are going to look to, of course, redeem themselves, get back into the game, get back into the action, because they still have, you know, 2 more games after this. So enough time to actually make a comeback. It's still not the end of the world for any single team right now. But of course, ERZ, TRZ, like we mentioned, really having the start of their lives. I mean, they just played 1 game and they're on the 4th spot in the overall rankings.
Exactly. I mean, they did do pop off. Like, one of their teammates did get those 10 kills, and the other one got 5 kills. So those are like 15 kills right there. And I'm pretty sure the rest of them do have a little bit of kills racked up for themselves. So that has definitely played a massive part because 1 point per kill. So that's going to be a lot of points right there. And ERZ, TRZ definitely do deserve that position on the leaderboard right there. But still, I mean, the team on the top of the leaderboard, like the overall leaderboards, are definitely like a really hard competition to go up against. And they're definitely going to be having a lot more hard time to get there. But as we see already, Team BB has already left the bootcamp compound, and they're already contesting those small compound loots just to get those excess, any kind of loots, any kind of those smokes, a little bit of utilities, just to make sure to get those cherry on the icing right there.
Yeah. Now they've gotten done with the loot like you mentioned, and now they're making their move inside the circle, trying to get a better position somewhere around Paradise Resort, maybe a compound. So we do know that in Sanhok, if you've got a compound, if you're inside the circle, you're good to go. But then again, you need to understand the terrain. I mean, the altitude where the compound is, because if you kind of get surrounded from various different directions, and if teams will, of course, try to throw grenades at you, then you're in a whole world of trouble. You've got nowhere to go. You're just gonna watch yourself being blown into smithereens. So a lot of factors have to be taken into account. But this is a map where we get to see a lot of reptiles in action, a lot of snakes over there of different varieties. You've got snakes like harmless creatures. They let your enemies pass. They do not do anything. That's where the players are really solo. They see a squad in front of them. They don't bite you. They don't hurt you. But then you've got the ones that are really poisonous. You'd be just passing by, and just as you're moving, boom, there you go. You don't even realize. So a lot of kind of a different approach from the teams. But there was this time, Necro, when I was casting the previous tournaments. Majority of the time, the circle used to go towards the Camp Alpha areas, the Western Island. But nowadays, it's kind of sticking up right on towards the center or towards the north.
Exactly. I mean, that's definitely more interesting to see, though. Like, the more land inside in the circle, that's going to be more fights, more like chaos. Of course, like teams are definitely going to be a lot more comfortable to play around those cover as well, but we're definitely going to be seeing a lot those DMRs being used to get those crucial headshot in and just do a little bit of tip damage, just make sure the enemy team is scared of peeking you. But at the same time, if we're taking a look at Team SFX, they're still on the bottom left of the map, taking a lot of zone damage, while at the same time they're making the same mistake that they made in Erangel to do a late rotation inside the circle. While we do talk about Sanhok, it's a really small map, and rotating inside the circle this late game does really assure you that most of the compounds will be taken by the other teams, and if you're just going to be driving past them, that's going to be giving you a hard time to drive past them, because we all know these guys are just top of their game, and they're not going to be missing their spray a lot.
Talking about driving past people, I mean, in Sanhok, I really have second thoughts about the vehicles, because it makes a lot of noise, to be honest, and teams will of course have an idea of where you're positioned, so it's going to be tricky. But look at ALK9 again. They find themselves in paradise, and again a good position. But this time around, a lot of teams will be coming towards the Paradise Resort, and it kind of becomes very tedious for at least 4 players to kind of defend this huge compound. So we have to see from where they are really opened up. Now we've got the players of ARS, we've got the players of XCVS, so a lot of teams in close contention. Even ERZR are closing in on towards them. So you cannot really fight against 4 different teams, because on towards the west side you can also see A1 Esports 1952 also making the move. So they have to be really picky with the kind of fights that they are taking, because we might be expecting some early game action.
Exactly. I mean, you didn't really notice one thing on the bottom side of the map, though. CNC Ashfuck is just AFK. They're just chilling out, inside the zone. And the rest of his teammates are just on top of the map, all over. They just left him. But what SFX is doing here, look at Cam Charlie. They're still so below. We cannot even see them on the map correctly, but SFX is just all the way bottom. I don't really know what's their game plan in the late situation, how they're going to be playing it out, but they're definitely taking some lethal amount of zone damage. While we talk about some lethal amount of damage, PXB Storm is definitely in a fight and might be taking a damage soon if he doesn't decide to reposition himself and get those early in-game knocks in down. But at the same time, his teammate has some knocks in out of Ishan. Now KS is definitely in a massive trouble, though. They might be doomed if they're not able to get their teammate up in time, because PX might just push inside, and they might be in a massive trouble if they decide to use those nades and utilities on time, and if they just cook them on time, and they KS might just have a massive hard time in getting those teammate up and just getting those teammate and the support role going in.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that was a narrow save. That was a narrow escape for the players of KSX, to be honest, over there. I do not know how on earth did SR manage to survive that one. I think it's completely pertaining to the lack of utilities, lack of grenades on the players of PXP. But, like you mentioned, a team on the southern side. So this is a kind of a strat that we kind of, accustomed with. We did see a lot of it in the Global Championship. Teams like Aerowolf Limax, kind of went in for those strats. A lot of, it's still the second circle that's closing in. Does not really give you enough of damage if you've got those boosters on you. So you're not going to have a lot of trouble. So what they are going to try to do with this is the fact that they're just going to rotate very late inside the circle. Once all the teams have kind of settled in, make sure that there's no one behind them. All they have to focus is on 3 different directions. So it has worked on certain occasions, but then again, it comes at a cost. You need to have a lot of bandages, a lot of first aid kits, a lot of energy drinks to really survive so long outside the circle.
Exactly. Now it's
and also a vehicle.
Exactly, that's true. I mean, in Sanhok, vehicles are not really that important. In case if you're SFX, then yeah, you do need those vehicles. But if you take a look at these other teams, it's just like really calm right now. It's like the calm before the storm, as we talk about. But it seems like KS is now in a better spot than they were before. Definitely, they're trying to get the contest those high ground. As we take a look at Ishan and his teammates, they are watching all over themselves, which is a really good point of view from them. And they're just looking in a really better spot, like watching those 360 angles all over the place, watching your back, left, side, and they're just actually doing a great job, while at the same time Ishan is tunnel vision in the compound in front of him, because they do know there's a whole team sitting inside there. So now basically overall KS is just doing a great job. So if you take a look at Max, we haven't really talked about that team, and it doesn't really seem like they have been in the limelight too. But like it's just not like they're not doing much in the whole game, and we haven't seen their name pop up even in the kill feed once. So it seems like they need to still get that first kill going on. So get that blood going on, get that blood pumping, get that adrenaline rush in. While at the same time, as we talk about one of the TRA members Pranoy just decided to go inside the open ground and just prone inside. I feel like what he's doing right now here is just scouting the area for his team, making sure how much land is free for his team, and then he's just going to give his teammates the call to move in. Oh yeah, this hillside is completely clear. It's clear. You guys can move in. Come behind me. I feel like this is what Pranoy is doing right now. He's just completely scouting out the area, and then later on he's just going to give it the call up to his team, as we talked about. There comes Baby Shark. Just the follow up is going to be there slowly and steadily.
The thing with TRA right now, they've got that high hill for themselves. They've just thrown in, like you mentioned, taking a lot of vision, trying to give those callouts. But what I really like from KS Axe over here, but we'll talk about that later as we have a fight amongst us. The sidekick gets a beautiful knock into its man and now has to instantly patch himself up because he's got to get into the fight really soon. Has got that medkit, so he's on 100% HP back again. And Team CS are, of course, getting that kill confirmed for themselves. And there you go, the first blood coming in. But, kind of getting back to the conversation, I was talking about KS Axe. So this is where things got really awry for them, because they were going in for those aggressive peaks. Rather you see the teams, really proning down. But, they were on those rocks and they were trying to get those covers. But now they are under heavy fire as Pranoy gets yet another knock, but gets traded off by Ehsan. But where we can see the players of Team ARS might also chime in inside the fight, join the party, and get a few kills of their own.
Exactly. I mean, KS and TRA are definitely on the same page here. Both of them have their 2 players knocked down. At the same time, TRA Sweet Love is doing a little bit of tickle damage from the back, while now KS have to watch their back and at the same time watch their front, and they have their 2 teammates knocked down, so their main priority is going to be getting those 2 teammates up, while at the same time taking care of the Sweet Love and taking care of those TRA teammates that are in front of him. So that's definitely going to be a massive problem for them. But as we take a look at Sweet Love here, he's not really going to be giving those peek away to Ishan that easily. He's just going to be using that third-person view. He's going to be just peeking out, baiting those shots out from Ishan, and Ishan is just going to be in massive trouble. In case if he decides to use those smoke grenades and get his teammate up, then there is a massive chance that he can get that big res in. But at the same time, as we take a look at Sweet Love doing a lot of lethal damage onto Ishan, Ishan is definitely scared by those shots and definitely going to be suppressed down. He's going to be slowing his peaks down, and there comes the res in. Seems like Ishan finally finds the time where he can rotate to his teammate, but at the same time, TRN's teammates is going to be doing an absolutely great job as we talk about Machov. He has finished the kill onto Ishan and even on the other guy. Now it's only one guy surviving from KS. That's going to be Shakil. Is he going to be able to survive for long enough though? Because TRN has 4 of their teammates completely alive, and he might be freezed from all the positions. Right now, they do not really want to be too aggressive and give away their loot or either their kills. So, seems like TRA is going to be taking a step back on the textbook.
Yeah, that they certainly are going to be doing. But look at Sakil. He's in no man's land. He just wants to survive. He just wants the players of TRA to spare his life. He means no harm anymore. Or does he? We do not know about that right now. But Cooney, look at him. He's got his eyes set onto its players of CSR. So CSR did have early kills, but look at CNC Genocide. Not really having the kind of a tournament beginning that they would have really wanted for themselves. And Safe, well, he's got that cover for the rocks, and the only good thing that is no one's behind him. But this yet have to get 200 meters inside the circle. And right in front of them stand like a solid strong wall. That's the players of Team CSR, well split out, have got those players in those compounds, and there you go. The first knock comes out from Sidekick, who gets a dig at Safe. But on the other side, we can see the players of SLX going against another team over there. So a lot of fights are slowly starting to happen as the 4th circle has started closing in. So this is where the damage really hurts you.
Exactly. I mean, one thing I don't really like about CNC is that they're not really out there like the way their team coordination is going out right now. It doesn't really seem on point because one of their teammates is getting knocked by, and still the other teammate doesn't really seem like he cares about it. He doesn't really peek in the time. But at the same time, 2 people are going knocked down for CSR. CSR is in a world of trouble. Cooney doing a lot of blood damage there, and that's going to be definitely falling those 2 bodies for sure if Cooney is able to get those kills in his hands.
Yeah, because, of course, Cooney, he did what he could, okay? Now, the 4th circle has already kicked out. I do not know why is Sidekick still going in for those rays, because the moment he gets that raise on, if you're not using your bandages initially, if you're just going directly for your first aids, you're basically a goner over there. But look at Execute taking down Gentleman from SLXGR. So that was kind of a sticky spot to be in. That is somewhere he would not anticipate himself, as we see Yamin getting another pick of his own, as a lot of teams are finally getting inside the circle. A1 Esports 1952 playing it a bit safe this time around, and Sideking having been spotted. He's taking heavy damage. Wow, 2 beautiful kills coming for this lad. Now, Yashiro, he's got the experience. He's really a monster when he yields those bolt action. But this time around, he's just working his way out with an M4. And Nox coming here back and forth. And Sidekick also falling down. Team CSR just surviving on the lonesome guy. That's Rohan.
Yashiro doing an absolute fantastic job on getting those 2 knockdowns while they were already had some massive damage dealt on them. But seems like now PXB is also in a world of trouble. They are also a little bit doomed, while at the same time now as we see the elimination going down, the Red Army has been eliminated off this game. It's going to be the 2nd squad that has been eliminated. Now we still have a lot of teams that, we still have 4 teams or 5 teams that only have one of their teammates alive, barely surviving, hanging out of the cliff, barely, and still trying to contest on the enemy team positioning, trying to play safe, trying to prone down, just trying to play safe overall, just trying to play the support role, even if they're by themselves solo, just getting those survival points in for their team.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you're getting eliminated, you're getting nothing. 8 to 12, just 1 point. I mean, why are you even giving that? Of course, as every single point matters at the highest level, but still not enough. You need to be in that top 5 position with a decent amount of kills to ensure your qualification to the next stage. That's the regional finals. But as we are speaking, ALK9, finally they are out of their comfort zone that they were in. Cooney is taking a lot of damage from his own grenade.
Oh no, that was definitely Sad moment for Cooney there, because
Yeah.
we've been seeing this man just like pop off since even the last games, or even the since even the last moments. But that was definitely an unfortunate moment for Cooney there. He's making a complete just way turn around across the zone, because he does realize that if he decides to take that path that he was taking before, he might be contested by like a full squad in front of him, and he won't of course be able to get those kills all by himself. So he just makes a sweet and smart decision, an easy decision, just to wrap around the circle, because he does have a little bit of meds for himself that can he definitely used to get himself back to the full HP. Well, as we can see, Team ERZ has one of their players knocked out. Definitely not going to be quite happy about that one, but it's not going to be a hard job for them to get the revive in, because as we see, Team Casey, XKey, they are really far away from the initial knockdown spot, so they're not really going to be able to push down or even throw the nades inside the hut. So for now, Mamba is a little bit safe, but at the same time, they do need to use a utility, but somehow, some way, Mamba decides to move out of the positioning, and Mamba gets killed and completely wiped out by Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, again, cooking up a grenade, anticipating the player to be around him. But no, that was not the case, as Narsin, he is in a no man's land. We can see God's Reborn also taking an early exit right now. I mean, it's still 8 teams remaining. It's just getting 1 point out of that. I mean, it's going to hurt a lot to these teams, you know, who are surviving for like 20 plus minutes. And then once the game ends, all they are getting is a point or a 2. So all pertaining to how many kills you really have. Now the circle has again shifted. Hassan, we can see, has found out Casper, and will get that beautiful knock, and will of course finish the last player of A1 Esports 952. And with that being said, you know, A1 Esports 952 has been eliminated from the game.
That is true. That's definitely going to be a lot more disappointing moment for A1 Esports, as we talk about. But seems like AL Hassan is in a really bad spot, and that's going to be a eliminate for them as well.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
now, yep, AL K9 Esports has been completely eliminated. You did have a little bit of hopes for this team, not gonna lie.
you know, but at the same time, I must say they're consistent. Look at the points that they've garnered for themselves. 14 points are from Sanhok. Completely understandable considering at their RNG of this particular map. But this is a really good chance for the players of ARS Sinisters, having all their players alive, getting 8 kills already racked up for them. So we'll have to see how these players perform it out on this one. They've got the entirety of the circle in their favor, but Saju, he's making a lot of noise. He's making a lot of movements out there. He needs to calm down right now. He needs to prone down. This is the right time. And XCVS, they're just proning their way inside the circle. But Darkside spotting him down, taking Demon, taking Fahim. 2 kills in quick succession for the players over here. But look at my brother, 762. He's just trying to get inside the circle. He does not mean any harm to anybody. But no, he goes big. He goes loud as he knocks down Syed. But look at the HP. He's surviving, has nothing to really play around with. Just one painkiller, and will of course want to confirm that kill and increase his tally to with 7 points. But there you go, the Ultron coming in from behind, and there you go, he gets that frag on. We just have our last 3 teams surviving. Who is gonna bring it home?
We need to definitely watch out for ERZ TRZ, though. They have been playing really, and they have been putting up a lot, like, massive competition in front of all these teams. So they all do have to watch out from ERZ TRZ as well, because they do have those 2 lethal players alive, as we saw White Cat and one more guy. But at the same time, White Cat goes down. Now ERZ is in a massive trouble. At the same time, they do need to capitalize on the other team's position. And seems like ERZ
They are eliminated.
has been eliminated. That's definitely going to be a lot more disappointing for a lot of people, actually. They might have seen how they played in the previous game. Some of their teammates did do a really well job, and one of them was the MVP. But at the same time now, ARS seems like in a really good position, but at the same time, they are a little bit less on the HP. They are falling less on the HP there.
Just patching themselves up.
Yep. Now, but it's a 1-on-4 situation.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances that that Team 16 is going to win this?
I mean, very less, I must say. But Jerry still somehow confirming those kills, getting that knock on. And he is on a spree right now, but his position has been completely compromised. But Saju really going mad with that AK spray. And finally, we'll get that final confirmation. And ARS Sinister solidifying the position right now after that beautiful, beautiful winner chicken dinner. But hey, nothing really taken away from ERZ, TRZ, the way they've been playing. The same can be said for ALK9. 29 points from this one, 14 kills. Like we've been always harping about this one thing, the aggression, the big numbers are coming out from the team. But then again, you know, watching a team that's taking 15 kills per game in a 16-team lobby, well, you've got to raise questions. What are the other teams doing? So we've got teams that are performing really well, and then we've got teams that are kind of really choking it up. So I really want to see that balance between both these teams, you know, have equal number of kills distributed, because the distribution is sort of really unfair. But let's take a look at the MVP of this game, and has to be Ultron, and he's been sort of the anchor for his team, to be honest. Over here, 6 kills coming in, 469 damage, and well, in moments where you really need it, this player really came up and stood out.
Exactly. I mean, Ultron was definitely the man who was just out there doing a lot of things. As you said, he was just the anchor, doing his anchoring job. But at the same time, he did do a lot good in those stats. As we can talk about when those comes to those damage and kills number, he was able to successfully freeze those 6 kills in his hands and in his palm. So that means those 6 kills are definitely those 6 points as well.
And they really matter. But right now, let's take a look at the top players. And you know, like we were talking about Ultron, I kind of saw that gameplay he's really going for. I mean, we talk about For Angry Men Sook. So he's that kind of the best anchor in the world, the kind of support fire that he provides, and that is what he did. He's got a lot of damage numbers coming in onto him. Cherry, of course, putting up a really valiant effort, but that was all about it. And Hassan, of course, continuing his run, 3 kills against side, 4 kills coming in for him. So overall, I must say it was a well-earned, you know, chicken coming into the players of AR Sinisters. So Ultron and Side definitely, you know, getting the majority of the kills for the team, you know. And then, you know, we'll have to talk about the players, you know, ALK9 and of course ERZ, TRZ. They did survive almost till the very end, and both these teams did have good number of kills backing them up. But now what we're going to do is take a look at the match summary and see who's got the farthest kill, and well, the numbers just went down 189 meters.
Exactly. I mean, it's Sanhok, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't really even see a lot of DMRs.
Not have high expectations.
We didn't even see a lot of DMRs being used. The only scopes that were being used on were those ARs. We did see a lot of M16 sprays coming in through, though. But those, I mean, I feel like when you do have a 6x and an M16, or even a 4x and an M16, I don't really feel like you need those really, really, really long-range fights. It's like, what are the chances? It's like 10 in 100% chance. Like getting those like really, really, really long range fights when we're talking about like if you're using a bolt action or a DMR. But at the same time, you can just put those 6x on your M4, and if you're doing the same amount of damage and just spraying down, actually getting those kills way much more faster, just melting people down, then why would you want to use a DMR or a sniper if you're playing on Sanhok?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of teams are rather going in for those M4s. And I really thought that we would get to see a lot of QBZ in action, provided the kind of a fire rate that weapon provides. You know, even in the different versions of the game, a lot of people do not really prefer the QBZ. A lot of problems are surrounding that gun. But at the same time, you know, there was this time when we head on to, you know, to the PMPLs, when we look at GC. A lot of teams, a lot of big names, they don't really go for that barrel because they know how to control the spray, and you've got the damage, you've got the fire rate. It's basically like a poor man's Groza. But now what we're gonna do is take a look at the map rankings and see how things turned out in the map of Sanhok.
Exactly. I mean, ARS Sinisters with those 15 chicken dinner points, as well as getting those 4 kills secure for themselves, and their total points are going to be 29. But at the same time, XCVS Esports is still not going to be falling down and not going to be saying where we give up. They're still not going to be giving up with those securing those 12 positioning points and a little bit of kill points as well.
Yeah.
So they are definitely in a solid spot as well. They can definitely get the comeback in. While we just take a look at all these teams, they have tried their best, but it seems like they did get like a little bit unlucky. While at the same time, sometimes they do just get outskilled in a gunfight, which happens with the best of us, even with the pro players too. So it's nothing really special about it. But one thing important over here was to notice that I don't really see a lot of grenade usage. Not a lot of grenade usage. As we saw in the previous Erangel map, there was a lot of utility usage, like a lot of heavy utility usage. The only smoke that we saw here was just to get those 1 or 2 revives, and those are only ones we were able to spot.
Yeah, I mean that was of course kind of disappointing. But let's just take this conversation on to its our Oppo Reno highlight moments and see how these teams did played out. You know, I think the only problem with Ashfaq here was that he was kind of disconnected, I believe, because the flight path trajectory going down under, his teammates were way off, and he just landed where the flight path trajectory really ended. So yeah, he was just not inside the game. But moving on. It's Sanhok at the end of the day. We haven't seen a lot of grenades. We don't get to see that, because players do not really get enough of it. One thing for sure in Sanhok you're never gonna have trouble with is finding weapons and bullets. You also get a decent number of first aids. You also get a decent number of boosters. But at the same time, when it comes to it, those smokes, when it comes to it, those grenades, yeah, the numbers are less. And I totally understand why. Because, the teams are fighting in such short contention now that if you get a lot of utilities, then this map goes broken, to be honest. You are in a troublesome situation. Like deploy 5-6 smokes. Now, where is the opponent going to figure out where you are? So, pertaining to that, I believe that it's fine. Because that's the natural beauty of Sanhok. It gets rusty, it gets right on your face. It's better that you take those combat with your weapons. In fact, with your guns. I would love to see some vector action. I believe that was something that is missing. But let's take a look at overall ranking and see how the overall scenario is.
Well, I mean, XP Blood Legion's still on the top. Like, no one's going to be catching their feet down. But if we take a look at all these, teams here, AL, K9 Esports has definitely climbed up there. Like, if you take a look at their stats as well, I mean, they didn't really manage to secure any kind of chicken dinners, but at the same time, they are surviving on those kill points and those survivor points as well. But yeah, there are a lot of these teams just doing their best, trying to get up there, trying to climb up there, get those rank rides in all the time. And we all know all these players are putting hours and hours in every single day, just get there, climb that ladder off the top, and trying to show us that how good they are. But hey, only some of them are successful because some just need a lot more time to be succeeded.
But the time is of the problem over here, Necro, because every single day, the matches start reducing for all these teams. KSX, another team, not in the good in the kind of a position that we would have wanted them to see. They've gotten 2 games. The first game really turned out well, but the second certainly not in their favor. They were way too much in the open, making a lot of noise. We did see the players kind of, going up on the rocks to collect that extra information. Fine. But you need to be prepared. If someone else spots you, you've got your pants down. What do you do? And that is something that they could not really figure out. That is something that they were not prepared for. But right now, what we are going to do is go for a short little break. And when we come back, we will have the action coming in from Miramar. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching day number 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladeshi edition, as we are finally done with our match in Sanhok. Now we will be going into the deserty lands of Miramar. And now we did see your favorite game, we did see your favorite map. Now it's my turn. It's Miramar. It's filled with action. But yesterday, it was kind of one-sided, you know. IPGX getting that higher hill advantage right from the very start, just, you know, dropping off at Los Leones. But today, Necro, what are you anticipating? Do you think this is all going to come down to a team that's having the higher altitude? Or do you think that we might get to see some even areas where the zone will be ending?
Well, I feel like when it comes to Miramar, I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot more open ground in those end circles. But even if you're like lucky, then you can see the Los Leones zone coming in through. But where there's definitely going to be a lot more grenade usage than usual. But at the same time, I mean, Miramar is a map where you're not going to be seeing a lot of opening fights going on. Like in the early placement, what most of the people are trying to do is like get on these zone corners, or at least like these map corners, like fall across the roads, try to contest those vehicles for some early rotations. Then because even if like a small like the zone is shifting onto a smaller circle, you do need those vehicles to get inside the zone as fast as you can, right? Yeah. And to contest those zone and to like at least like capitalize on how the next zone is going to be ending and get those try to get inside in the middle of the zone is definitely going to be much harder.
Yeah, of course. And along with that, we also have the Golden Mirado. And let's just head into the map and see which team does get their hands on that. I mean, we did have a conversation building around it yesterday, but quite an even flight path trajectory, I must say. Valdemar all the way towards Torre Amuda. So the teams are going towards the western side do have a chance at that, but the teams rather dropping off at El Azhar, they're going to have some trouble doing that. Tierra Bronca is still reachable. But yeah, El Azhar was a place which is being highly contested by teams a lot these days. But I really want to see which are the teams actually having the cojones to be going towards places like Picado, or maybe towards San Martin, or maybe towards Hacienda del Patron, because these are those regions, these are those hot spots when you're in those normal lobby that you would want to drop in. But now we are in the competitive arena on the highest level, so takes a lot of things online. You need a lot of bold moves to actually go for that. But with that being said, you know, a lot of players are missing from the lobby.
Exactly. I mean,
ALK9 missing out on one of their players.
Exactly. Even CNC is missing out on one of their players.
That's gonna hurt them. I'm telling you. I mean, ALK9 has done a really good job so far, but you know, being handicapped right from the very start, you know, that's not the kind of opening that you need to have for yourself in those early game. So we'll have to see as the circle has really formed again, somewhat around La Bendita side. But today I really was anticipating a kind of an edgy end circle, because I really wanted to see some action down south, maybe towards northwestern side. You know, I wouldn't have really even you know, had trouble if I saw the zone ending towards the El Pozo area. But with that being said, we have the players of PXBS Gengar, one of my favorite Pokemon.
Gengar is getting a lot of that 5.56 juice there, as we saw. He even got the M4 and a lot of 5.56 ammo. Like, that has to be one of the most blessed spots to go in for him, and he definitely got a lot more lucky. But we have been seeing Kuni. He has been doing a lot since even the previous game, and even in the Erangel. Kuni has been showing us a relentless performance. Even if we try to ignore him as much as he can, we just cannot, like how the way he's playing. But at the same time, I mean, if we take a look at AL, right, they have been surviving till those late games. They are trying their best, but right now these two teams there is a massive chance that these two teams might be facing each other, while Death is just taking a little bit early damage. But doesn't really seem like CNC have a lot of cover around them, while AL literally just have the rest of the whole thing on their name.
Yeah, and the worst part is both these teams are on their 3 players. So the only part where, you know, ALK9 can really win this fight is if they take that flank onto its the left side. But at the same time, if Kuni spots this one out. It's all flawed. So what they can really do is go from behind, take the longer route, and maybe get that higher advantage, maybe get to that church, and kind of completely put a full stop onto the movements of the players of CNC Genocide. Now, the only path that the players of CNC Genocide can really go for is just to retreat, because they do not have a lot of space to loot around.
I mean, the thing is, like, as you said, they can go to the higher ground. Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, if you're taking a look at how many houses they had in their hands or in their pockets, were only 3 or 4 houses. And that's one thing for sure, that they're not going to be having a lot of loot. So even if they go on that high ground, that means they have to contest and take those long-range fights. They're not going to be able to do much because they just don't have those ARs and those, like, bullets to actually spray someone down from the long range. But as we take a look at those long-range spray, AK shots coming in onto Sip there, not going to be able to quite connect a lot of shots from from AL, but he's still like trying his best, while K9 Tassin is trying his best to just like get a lot of shots onto CNC teammates with his iron sight. Doesn't really have found the scope for his gun yet, because it's still the early game, and they Tassan still hasn't gotten a lot of time just to loot for himself, because he has to watch out and just like call his teammate out if CNC is making any kind of move. While as we talk about that, his teammate have came back to him, and now they are contesting on CNC as well.
What I really want is someone from ALK9 to actually get on top over there, because this is a good chance at, opening things up, getting some, kills for yourself. But Safe, spotted out right out in the open. He might just be in some trouble right now. Peppered down by Shade over there.
Exactly.
And now, I mean, ALK9, of course, being handicapped right from the start. We've been talking about this. This entire fight, this entire skirmish between these two teams kind of has gone into a standstill with not really much happening. And I'm rather skeptic about it, because either you take the fight or you just back off and loot. Do not stand still. Not in those early game phases. You cannot afford to do that, because you've got a long game after this. You've got a long wait that you have to traverse around. You need those utilities. You need those ammos. You need those scopes. You need everything you can possibly get. But look at Zaman. He's found an enemy around him. He does not want him around. So we'll have to see how this fight really erupts, as we have SLX going against PSR.
Exactly, PSRM. We might be seeing an early fight coming in between SLX and PSRM. Any one of these, if they even like lose one of their teammates down, their teammates are definitely going to be a lot more disappointed in them, as well as that's going to be doing a lot of mental damage, and at the same time in-game damage to their team, and they would have to like figure new strats out and new things out, and how to work around these situations, because it's like if you're down to 3 players, it's almost like you're a little bit of handicapped, while at the same time, yes, there is a chance you can still work around the situation, but hey, it's always better to have all of your teammates alive. Well, you can just so that's like there's a chance that you can execute the strategies you have planned all across the way, or all over the place, when you are practicing for these kind of matches in your home time.
Absolutely. Now it's kind of a standstill over here as well. Not a lot happening, and I like the positioning from the players of PSR, to be honest, having those high ground advantage for themselves. And as long as you've got the loot, Lost Leonis is still a good place that you can be in. And this is the compound that I've been talking about for so long. It's so difficult to get the push if you are positioned over here, and if you've got a good position, and you've just got that one choke opening. So let's see. And anything can possibly happen. Kuni is trying to spot people out. Again, a lull in the lobby. Nothing much happening. And I'm really hating it, how teams are approaching Miramar. Look at Sif. It's already 7 minutes past, and they haven't moved a bit. And Kuni, he's just got a Winchester to work around.
Exactly. I mean, Winchester is definitely a decent amount of weapon.
It's kind of a weapon that you would want in your early game. Definitely not the kind of a weapon that you would end things out.
Exactly, which is definitely a suitable time to get a Winchester. But at the same time, if you talk about Sif, he's just making an early rotation inside the zone. He does not have any kind of like good loot on him. The only thing he has is
doesn't even have a backpack.
Yeah, he just has a Mini 14 and the the micro Uzi. He doesn't even have any kind of meds. Nothing. Zero amount of utilities. At the same time, doesn't even have a backpack for himself. Even his vest is a little bit damaged. And CNC is in a world of massive trouble, and they're definitely doomed when it comes to the loot they have.
I mean, not just CNC. The same goes for ALK9. I mean, the kind of position they are in, that's really not the right decision that they're taking. Of course, you want those kills, but you need to think 2-3 steps ahead. How are you going to survive in those late zones? Of course, CNC Genocide, they're having a disastrous start today. And Winchester, after having 7 minutes pass, they should have retreated way earlier. Now, a lot of majority of the compounds over here inside the circle are going to be taken by a lot of different teams. Even if the teams have moved out, they might just be looted. So there's highly less probability that you're going to get any loot any further. So you wasted your whole time, just looking at each other, just staring at each other, doing nothing, not really getting any knocks, not really going for any kills. Now, how do you survive in these mid games? And where do you exactly go? You do not have the best of the utilities to play around with, but well, talking about teams that are really enjoying themselves, well, we have to count in A1 Esports 952 almost having the central area around Minas Generalis.
Exactly. I mean, there's even a airdrop in the central area, but I'm pretty sure not a lot of teams do want to go for that because when you try to get those airdrops in, especially in a map like Miramar, where there's a lot of open space and a lot of hilltops, you might get spotted by a lot of teams, and that's going to be revealing your teammates' position as well as your whole team and yours as well. How can we just forget that? Well, at the same time, SLX this time is looking really healthy if you take a look at it fixes. And I mean, this is the first time I've seen them inside the zone.
They finally made it. I mean, this is the map where Yashiro, the likes of him, really shine because he's a kind of a player who is an absolute monster when he gets a bolt action. He loves to play that. I know you're a fan of the bolt action as well, but that's how you tap with an M16, showing the players that he's not a player. Yeah, that's no recoil over there. That's a laser tap over there. Yeah.
Cooney's probably like, oh my god, what just hit me? What just happened? What kind of gun does that man have? I need that too. It doesn't have any kind of recoil. Well, all this man is using as an AR, which is called M16. With those, now the way we saw how these pro players use that M16, you know what? I hate it. You know what? I actually now low-key want to try with a 6x on, but at the same time, I just don't like it, man. I don't know what I just...
Kind of a rivalry building up, between SLX and CNC. Now, this is a team that somehow kind of escaped from ALK9. But, I will be taking you guys and all our viewers back to Erangel. Nova Repnoi fight. Hear your memory? This is the same thing that happened. And, well, CNC, again, being on the receiving end of things. They've just got that one-player death. And things are falling down one after the other.
Outside the zone again.
Yeah.
And CNC is the one, again, wasting their time outside the zone, which is absolutely perfect thing that happened. We're just literally just seeing a flashback while at the same time they're just using a green screen and putting the Miramar map on it. It's literally just look at the same thing. But at the same time, yes, yeah, I feel like teammates CNC is doing Death is actually doing a pretty decent job getting inside the circle before SLX, but seems like here comes the car in. Yashiro is not going to let Death just escape his death. He has to face his death at the same time. Koa is taking a lot of decent amount of damage in the zone. Like both of the SLX teammates are definitely a lot more low, but they still have the man advantage on Death there. But Death definitely has a lot more HP to contest on. But here comes the beautiful M4 spray. Or more kind of like Scarlet spray. We're talking about Koa. Beautiful spray coming in from him. That's going to be eliminating CNC completely out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, had that been an M4 over there, he would have been a goner really early on. You get to see that extra hit up on when you're spraying with a Scarlet. not the kind of a perfect suitable weapon in those mid to long mid ranges. But of course, like we were having our discussion, well, CNC kind of saw this coming, and Death, he cannot escape the Grim Reaper. That was SLX, of course, over there. And Mamba, well, ERZ, TRZ, of course, getting off to a really beautiful start. Some, problems with his button pressing, and they take some chunk of damage over there. Kind of trying, his armor somehow is safe. So that's a good thing. You still can patch yourself up, but between the fights, it's really difficult to change your Kevlars, because either way, if you take someone down, his armor is already kind of completely exploited. His armor is completely exhausted. But right now, CSR find themselves amidst a battle where Pranoy blindly dashed in on their compounds, and he just gets blown up with the buggy.
That's going to be definitely a lot of smithereens across the floor there, and that's going to be a massive part of clean for the devs. But at the same time, we don't have to worry about that. We just need to cast. Well, the thing is, like, ERZ, TRZ, we haven't really given them that much spotlight that they deserve. Well, Mamba just hits a lot, like, just a good headshot with the M16 again, as we're seeing. Why is everybody using the M16? Can I know the answer, please, chat?
I mean, everyone's kind of inspired by the winners, of course, of the PUBG Mobile Global Championship. They've got a player called Paraboy, who's regarded as the best in the world. And you are yet to cast him, and I'm telling you, that guy's a monster. Whenever he yields that DP28 or the M16, he instills fear in the hearts of his enemies. So, a lot of inspiration being taken up from these promising lads. And you always have someone to look up to, right? So, of course, they have the inspiration over there. And that guy's a kid. He's merely 17-year-old, and he's already a world champion, one of the most famous personalities of China over there. But now, let's come back to Bangladesh. Look at Vexy. He's got that ball action. Can he get the head? Barely missing out. Completely revealing his position. But Mamba still wants to go for the peak. Vexy, again, getting that shot, but not really connecting.
I like the guts on this man. This man is just not scared to take those massive peaks with the bolt action sniper. But at the same time, if he's going to be catching your head, you're definitely going to be regretting the peak you made and challenging this man. But if we take a look at other zones and other teams that we're talking about, TRA, baby, TRA haven't been showing up since Sanhok much. They did do a lot in the Erangel map. But since Sanhok, TRA has been quiet. But it seems like we just need to give them a little bit more time to get that comfortable spot in Miramar, because they still do have 3 of their teammates alive, but SLX is right in front of them as well. Now, what TRA here can do is definitely try to find a easy and a free route to get inside the circle, but as the time moves on and as the zone shrinks smaller and smaller, it's definitely going to be harder for you to find those free spots and those free compounds and those free ridges where there's a lot of cover, but at the same time, you might get contested and spotted, and at the same time just get third party by any other squad. But as we talk about these fights happening over here, CSR sidekick, it's down here with really low HP, but SLR sketch is already down. Now SLR is trying to survive as best as they can, using their smoke utilities just to flush themselves out of the situation, just to get those rotations in. While now they capitalize on CSR's position. Zam is taking a lot of damage, while at the same time doing a lot of damage in the process as well. But that's going to be eliminating SLX, ironic, completely out of this match. How do you feel about this?
I mean, well, to be honest, I was really not surprised looking them get eliminated. They are making a lot of mistakes. They committed the same mistakes even in Erangel, and they were punished for that. And this time around, the same thing happens. It's just a different map. That's the only difference that they've made. And they should have understood the importance of how you need to rotate really quick in maps like this. You need to keep those vehicles, try to avoid those unwanted fights, and they did take down the players of CNC. However, of course, they did not focus on their own rotation. Now this circle is pretty much very interesting. You've got the La Bendita area. It's like a crater. You've got that ridge playing around. You've got to be very picky with where you are playing, because it's kind of an open field right now. You need to have a proper map knowledge in order to survive in a zone like this.
Making sure he's stopping one shot, making sure he's stopping all the rotations that are coming inside the zone. Doing a lot of tickle damage, but certainly going to be able to do a little bit more tickle damage on the sidekick, and someone just knocked sidekick down completely. Sidekick's definitely going to get sidekicked by someone, and he's definitely going to be a lot more disappointed while his teammates just throwing the smokes down, trying to get the revive in. Beautiful car blast in there, making sure that he's not going to be rotating instantly off the car usage, so they have to go on foot, while at the same time they might have to use the smoke. But we know it's going to be impossible to move with those smokes, because it's not like he's going to be carrying like 100 smokes with him, because unless he like smokes out complete area, then only he would be able to get that cover for himself, or the temporary cover as we talk about. Smokes, they do work really good in those favors.
Yeah, but right now, KSX, they've found themselves in a very good position, but they're kind of gonna get surrounded any single moment. Max Esports are eliminated as ERZ, TRZ get the better of them, and Miraz, he's way too much in the open. Either you go for the fight against Bhai Brothers, or else you just back off. But at the same time, you know, this is again Erangel repeating itself. Last time we saw KSX was the only teams that did wipe out the players of Bhai Brothers, and this time also doing a lot of damage and reducing the squad to just a two-man team right now. Now KSX also have the cover of those compounds, but look at the curve wall, look at the zone shift, yeah, Necro, because we have the teams, everyone. A lot of splash of colors. They have to get inside the circle. The circle, in fact, going to its northern area of La Bendita, I believe. And Captain starting off with a knock onto its MO46.
Exactly. Now KS seems like KS is actually in a really good spot. If you take a look at their
No, they have to go to inside the circle. That's going to be a problem, because they might get gated.
Yeah, they might get gated, but at the same time, they do have a decent cover at the moment and at the point in time. But over here, when so this is what the really fascinating thing that actually fascinates me here. In the late zones, they're like, it doesn't really matter if you want to rotate inside the zone like really early, right? You can move in with the zone. That's going to be assuring you at the same time that there is no one behind you. But one thing that you have to keep on doing, and that's going to be pressuring you, is that you have to keep moving, or the electrocution zone is going to be electrocuting you a lot. Now, the zones that take damage definitely increase as the zone shrinks down. We all know that. That's like a common thing in battle royales. But at the same time, in tournaments like these, and the settings are different, so the zone definitely does like a lot more damage than the usual. So they do have that pressure on as well. Now they have to watch their front at the same time, so they definitely do have a lot more pressure when they have to rotate in lead. But there's still an option. It's not a bad choice to do. But as we take a look at KS here, looking pretty healthy in their situation, have gotten all their 4 teammates alive, and now Sakil is just doing that support role for his team, throwing those utilities in, making the way for his teammates to rotate inside the circle, which is absolutely beautiful stuff coming in from. But here, XC getting in a fight, Demon getting that knockdown, but his teammate in the process is also going to get thirsted completely down by KS Mehraj. Beautiful stuff coming in from him, beautiful spray down with the AK-47. Now KS is definitely going to be a lot more disappointed, but beautiful nade coming in from SLX. What was that?
I mean, that was a beauty. That was an absolute beauty. SLX, the way they've been playing right now, they kind of had an off start, but they've really recovered very well. And now they've built their path of smoke, but look at PX Bit right now. Copper having already been spotted out, but Stalker is the one from the backlines that's providing the cover fire. Big Boss X also take an early exit, but the biggest shock over here, ALK9 Esports going down on the 12th position with just 3 points. So that's going to be a bummer for them, but KSX really have a very good chance of winning this one out as they're fighting their way inside the circle.
Exactly. I mean, if you take a look at Ishan, he's doing an absolute great job with the support role, but he's going to get hurt in the process.
Much in the open.
KS is just crumbling down like a breadcrumb.
Yeah, I mean, they just crumble like a cookie.
Exactly. They literally just broke out of nowhere. But at the same time, if you take a look at Copper, what are you supposed to do if you're in a situation like Copper? Like, you are getting contested by the other squad from all the other angles. all you can do is just sit behind that car, wait for your opportunity to strike. But at the same time, if you have people like One Shot, which are definitely going to be a lot more annoying when it comes to taking those rotations inside the car, because all he's doing is, like, we have been seeing him since a while. And all One Shot doing is, like, he's just doing those suppressive fire. Like, all these cars that are rotating inside, he's just been doing that suppression fire. Like, he's just scaring all the teams off away and just trying to change their rotation spot. And well, at the same time, AL is pretty good at holding their spots. Like, they have been holding their ground. They're not really scared of doing that as well. But Copper is just like peeking out, trying to get those suppressive fires shots as well. But the zone is definitely going to be pushing them to move inside. While at the same time, they are dealing and getting a lot of damage done on themselves. But Copper is going to get caught in the rotation. Koa is going to be getting the kill onto Copper. And that's going to be another team down, which is going to be
Predator X-Bit. So I gotta understand the fact, we kind of tend to get on our blood, and we need that breathing space over here because fights are coming one after the other. A lot of teams have been eliminated, and ladies and gentlemen, we just have our final 3 teams in here. So SLX, we've got Koa in there. We've got the players of XCVS, and XCVS, they've been doing good. They've been consistent, across the 3 games that we've casted. And just as I was speaking, they meet their makers and the PXBS. Of course, again, the team having the high ground in Miramar, getting that extra information against them. Now we have the players of Team SLX against Team PXBS. Now, this is going to get really interesting from over here. The last 2 teams surviving. We've got a 4v3 situation amongst us. And we're still waiting for the 7th circle to start showing up, because that's when we will know which team has a higher advantage, which team has a better advantage, which team is in a better position.
Exactly. As Fixes pointed out, the situation having the high ground advantage definitely gets you a lot more advantage in those late circles, but at the same time, it's a 4-on-3 situation, right? Anything can happen. One teammate can get those all 3 knocks down, but at the same time, the other team can just take down the whole team. Anything can happen in these situations like these, especially when it's the end zone. You are getting the adrenaline pumped in, but as we talk about the adrenaline rushing in, there goes one member down of Team 7. They're definitely going to be a lot more disappointed after that one casualty happening. Now, it's all down to 4-on-2 situation. It's definitely going to be hard to see, like, how is Team 7, which is going to be SLX, how are they going to capitalizing on Team 17's positioning there, because it seems like Team 17 is literally just surrounding them from all the angles. SLX, all they have is a small pit and a small ridge for themselves, but as soon as the zone starts moving, Team 17 definitely has a rotation in their hand, and if SLX decides to rotate inside the zone, they are going to get punished. But as we talk about, Gengar is going to be getting another knockdown on the SLX. Now it's all down to 1-on-4 situation. Now this situation is definitely looking a lot more harder for SLX here, but it's still not impossible. It is still doable, but the chances are 10%. In 100% chances, SLX getting that nade onto himself, but at the same time, he needs to rotate inside the zone, but he's also getting pushed by one of the teammates from Team 17, and that's going to be another chicken dinner.
Wow, we've got to give huge props. That was a very bold move coming out from Storm, and PXBS get their first chicken in. 9 kills, 24 points on the board for this team. But nothing really taken away from the players of SLX. The moment we got to see that 7th circle, I kind of knew this was over, because the zone completely shifted to the players of PXBS. And of course, them having the high ground, them having the better number, now even the zone. It was kind of a done deal for the players of SLX. They made a lot of mistakes, kind of being constricted to one position. But hey, that's the final circles that we're talking about. That they did survive for so long. Not too shabby, nothing much to scoff about. They've got those position points. They've got a few kill points. But this was a very interesting map of Miramar, because we have not seen zones like this a lot. This was a zone which was kind of doable, because yesterday's zone, which kind of completely favored the players of IPGX. How do you get on hill, which is not really traversable when you are already the circle has closed in and you have to get in from behind to get up over there? So that was kind of a one-sided game. But today it was evenly matched up. Today, of course, PXB has been very careful with their fights and taking those fights only which they could win. And that did really help their cause. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a look at who is the MVP, and that has to be Koa from Team SLX. I mean, he was there for his team. 3 kills and 621 damage.
I mean,
That's good.
take a look at how Koa was playing. I don't really think so. He is the star player for his team. I mean, which is not really a bad thing. Like support players, I feel like supporting a team is the most hardest part. Let's be honest. Being a support player or having a support player is actually the most hardest part, because you will have to use those smokes and utilize those smoke, and you are the one which is going to be having a lot more impact when it comes to like getting those strategies inside a match like this, and when you're having a lot more people watching at you, and when there's like a lot of people just staring at your face, looking at what are you going to be doing, what kind of the next move is going to be you are going to be doing. While at the same time we saw Koa making a lot more space for his team by getting those knockdowns, and at the same time watching his team's back. I feel like Koa does deserve that position right there.
You know, 100% agree with you, because even in the professional scenario, I used to be the support, and you always are kind of under the radar, right? You've got those smokes, you've got those utilities, you go in for those revives, and you be the anchor from the backlines. But now let's take a look at the top players of this particular map, which was kind of silent over there. You know, not a lot of action happening around. Not the kind of a Miramar, to be honest, I was really pleased with. But it was a zone that I absolutely love. Storm, Yashiro, and Shadow. Now, Yashiro is one of those players that I have seen time and again throughout the PMPL, back in the days when he was playing from INES. I mean, he was such a beautiful sniper. Even my fellow caster back then, XP, he was really impressed with the way he was hitting his shots, and he loves those ball action. Every player, if he yields one, then he is in XP's good book. So, of course, we've had taken a lot of keen interest in this player, but this time we've seen him evolving, you know, exploring himself. This time on the assault rifles, he's equally as good. So now with Miramar also being done with, and PXBS, of course, getting the chicken over here. So it was kind of a good game, considering the fact that this time the kills were kind of evenly distributed. I think that's the only consolation I'd be taking from this game.
Exactly. I mean, like coming in on those like points we saw, there weren't really like that big of damage numbers if we compare them to like previous 2 games, because it's the map of Miramar, right?
Yeah.
Everything goes on so passive. There's not really like that many teams spotted, because there's just so many positions you can be taking. So only those like a lot more fights that are happening are going to be in the late game, and also even in the like end circles.
Yeah, you know, but as we carry forward this conversation, let's take a look at the match summary. And, you know, this is where I see a difference in the technicalities between, you know, the 2 regions I've casted so far, between Nepali and the Bangladeshi region. Now, Bangladeshi region is very aggressive, right on your face. Not as aggressive as the Pakistan region, but, you know, the players do not shy away from fights. But one thing they're definitely, you know, definitely need to work on is those tactical gameplays, the macro gameplay as we speak of, those rotations, those timings. But, you know, Ehsan, of course, having the longest distance over here.
That's actually a lot.
Yeah, I mean, 234, come on. In Miramar, I really feel that I would love to see something around 300 meters. I mean, in Erangel, it's still fine.
300 meters is a lot, bro.
Come on, we've
basically
seen. Yeah, if you need to have that bolt action, to be honest.
It's literally like if you want 300 distance travel, like, oh my god, like it's gonna be like so much ground to cover at the same time. At the same time, you might get shot from like a lot of angles.
Hey, we are dreamers.
And a lot of teams, but especially in a game like this where people have just insane amount of aim and they're just using those 6x and M4 sprays, you are a lot more vulnerable target than you are in those normal public games.
Yeah, of course. And let's take a look at the match rankings and see how these teams have fared off in this particular game. Of course, Gods Reborn, again, getting that you know, 2nd position. Now, this is really, really promising. They've been being consistent right along, and even in the pre-segment, we did say that this is a team that we need to watch out for. And PXPS, of course, walking off with the chicken, 9 kills, really, really a decent performance. But this is where I like these teams are finally, you know, stepping up. Apart from, you know, TRA, SLX, Ironic, and CNC Genocide X, other players, look at them, they've got decent number of kills. That's definitely going to be a kind of a mental booster for them as we just have our last game remaining. Again, the same things comes down. You know, the players in the Bangladeshi region are really instinctive. They play on their instincts, weird. But, you know, in those tough situations, you need to step it up. You need to start playing with your brains over there. You need to kind of outmaneuver your opponent. You need to create that opening. You need to create that separation because, okay, now you are of course surviving because you're playing in your region. Now, when you move on to PMPL, or even if you are going against the teams from the big guards, the old guards as we call them, from the PMCO, that will be joining, of course, as the invited teams during the PMCO regional finals. They are gonna go take you for a ride because they have already, you know, played with a lot of different teams from different regions. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the Oppo moments rather, and see how the highlight reels really were.
Exactly. I mean, we did see a lot more M16 get used in these all these games. Especially, I haven't been seeing like that many M16 being used in the other regions that we cast in the Nepal yesterday. Like, not a lot of teams were actually using the M16 unless they were forced to, because they didn't really find those DMRs. But in the Bangladeshi region, I'm definitely seeing a lot more M16 used. I feel like it's because overall, like, these are just like aggressive players, right? They want those fast tapping rate. At the same time, they just want to beam a squad. So I feel like M16 over there is definitely a better and a viable choice to take.
I mean, if you talk about M16 as a weapon, to be honest, you know, it gives you a lot of versatility, right? Even on the burst mode, if you just switch to the burst mode, you've got an enemy somewhere around those 50 meter to 60 meters. You can just tap him down with those bursts, and it's just 2 bursts that it will take to knock down a player. So let's take a look at the overall ranking and see after the 3rd game, where do these teams stand off? So we kind of see a dip over here. This is where ERZ, TRZ have been kind of shunned down because this game was certainly not the way they wanted. They had an early elimination, just having a very few points out of this, and the same goes for ALK9. But we still have one more game remaining, and if these two teams, either of them, get a chicken, they just might go on top.
Exactly. I mean, they still have secured that 4th position for themselves, and they are up there with 50 points. So now, I mean, we have definitely seen them play in the previous matches, and that's definitely not a team that we need to be like, oh, just casually, it's whatever, you know. They probably is lucky. No, they do have the skill and potential to be there, and they probably deserve like way much more higher spot in the ladders as well. But at the same time, if we saw the Group A and B match yesterday, those players were absolutely fantastic too. Like, they had some iconic moments that they had with those nades and stuff. Like, the placement and stuff was just on point. But at the same time, ERZ TRZ is definitely a team that everyone needs to watch out overall. And yeah, there's just a lot of good teams coming in as well.
I mean, a lot of good teams, to be honest, and only a handful teams that are, you know, prepared for the worst situation. You know, that's how you get the best of the best. You know, I'll talk about the armies. We've got those elite squadrons coming out. You know, they are put into a lot of trouble, and the ones who've got the metal to survive that, they are the ones getting the glory. So, you know, in the fight for glory, these teams have to know how to survive. They need to know how to take those fights. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading for a short little break, because coming up next is the final game of Erangel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as you are watching the final game of Day 2 of the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladeshi edition. As we venture into Erangel, Necro, what do you think? Which team? Name one.
TRZ.
Alright, so you're talking about a back-to-back chicken in Erangel then?
It's not really back-to-back. There has been a few games going on in between, like Sanhok and
I mean, I'm
Miramar,
talking about Erangel map per se, just the Erangel map.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a back-to-back. But I feel like, there's a reason why I'm saying TRZ over here. There's a reason why I'm praising that team so much. Because the way I saw them play in Erangel map in the first situation, and in the first map as it was the first off, because I felt like the way they were strategizing their plays and the way they were able to execute in this tournament was actually like relentless. Like they were able to do it over and over again, and like I feel like everything that they were doing was actually well planned and it was actually meant to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved what you pointed about them, because in that match where the circle kind of went around Pachinki, their rotation was really mesmerizing to see. They were really confident in what they were doing. They had a plan. And in those tough situations, you need to, kind of pick out, your IGL needs to be point on, bang on with his call-outs. And let's not waste any more time. Just head directly into the game and see what this map has to offer, because the flight path trajectory, of course, is heading all the way from Georgiapol to its Novoripnoi, kind of dissecting the map into two halves.
Exactly, that is true. I mean, yeah, the map path is actually pretty decent itself. I mean, it is like literally just like dividing the map into two places. Well, at the same time, like these teams can literally go to any corner of the map unless they decide to go to Stalber and Kamishki, then they're having a hard time. But who goes there? Come on.
I mean, when you have a lot of money on the line, I mean, any kind of early loot, I would love to take that. But I've seen players going as far as Kameshki, even in the highest competitive arena, even in the GC, not even kidding. But let's get back to reality. Let's get back to the Bangladeshi region. A lot of teams have taken their plunge in. We can see the players of my brothers going on towards the northwestern Georgiapol city, and this has been an interesting team. And they've been more lost than kind of figure out their fights. But regardless, they've got one decent game. That's just about it. That's the only thing I can take from them.
One thing I would like to point out.
Yeah.
Poor Gadka has been left alone.
Because, that was kind of confusing, because teams really should not miss out on Gadka, because Gadka is an area where you can traverse around a lot. But now, again, we get to see an eastern circle. And yesterday we did also witness kind of a similar circle. And we'll have to see how well teams are prepared for it, because Predator...
That's an early knockdown going in off CNC. What is going on? CNC is having a terrible time in this tournament this whole time. Like, as we've been seeing them in the start, even in the previous Erangel games, they were the first team that was really having like a really hard time in surviving. But at the same time, like literally the first blood comes in. As soon as they literally drop in, this is like the earliest first kill I've seen ever happening.
Yeah, I mean... this went really fast, and this was not there in the first game. And I'll tell you why. CNC Genocide did drop off at Novoripnoi. This time, however, dropping off at the apartments. And, well, they did, face off against PX a bit. So I'm pretty sure that the players over here of PX Bit are really not happy. You do not really want, teams dropping off in your territory. And, well, Fahim taking the damage from that. He's already been knocked, but Winter ramming in the vehicle. He's got some bold moves out there. He will be trying to get that revive onto him, as Stalker is going to provide that essential cover fire.
Look at that. So many moves coming in at the same time. They're just trying to rotate around the situation, as they know that there is a possible situation of a revive over here. But at the same time, Max taking a lot of damage. Down only 20 HP. It doesn't really seem like he cares about healing. And as I'm talking about that, Max has been taken down. Now, CNC is looking in a terrible spot. They only have 2 players alive. Here comes the revive on Max from Kuni. But at the same time, Fahim is not really in a greatest of situation, I feel like. I feel like they're literally going to be using Fahim as their bait. Which is the best possible situation or the best possible thing you can do when you have a teammate that is down to that low. But one thing you definitely need to do is that you need to trade out that frag instantly as soon as Fahim goes down, or else that might be an early casualty for your team and that might be an early kill. But at the same time, CNC, we have been seeing they have been struggling a lot since the whole time here. CNC is not really like one of the teams that have been doing well, performing well consistently. They're rather pretty inconsistent because we just have never seen them succeed in whatever they're doing, or neither seems like they are really planning out what they're trying to do. But Xbit, on the other hand, we have been seeing them. They have been playing decent. I wouldn't really say they have been playing really, really, really good. Xbit is doing a pretty fantastic job in surviving in all these previous games that have been going on. But at the same time, they have been over here and there. It's just like a wiggly string when it comes to if we want to take a look at their stats. But at the same time, they are giving their best, and their support player is trying their best to survive, while Fahim is literally just going to be sitting on that one spot, tunnel visioning the stair. At the same time, there's another knockdown. XC Yuri going down. Yuri is early casualty happening. Yuri, we all know, is a really fantastic player when it comes to Team XC. And losing your star player like that this early game is a lot going to be disappointing for a team like XC.
Yeah, of course. And now we are back to square one, where we have the players of PXBet going against CNC yet again. Everyone in a standstill. It's just Kuni who's making those movements, those runs, trying to confuse the players of PXBet. Where's the remainder of the team? They're providing the backup from behind. Stalker, we did see, was in the mid apartment. But that's just about it. You know, they do not have enough health to go in with the push. And I must also consider the fact that I'm starting to wonder, do they even have a vest on them? Because if they go in with that much HP, they're pretty much done. But we can see Copper from the far lines. He's gone for a good rotation. If he gets onto that higher ground, some or the other player might just be exposed, and they do not see that coming, because look at them. Every single player is looking towards this direction. They'll be completely caught off in the dark. One knock is what PXBet needs to just go in with that push.
Exactly. I mean, this is what I was talking about when you need to watch your backs all the time, which actually makes sense, the phrase that I've used here. You do need to watch your backs all the time, like especially in a game like PUBG, where there is a massive chance that there might be someone just hiding in those bushes or just flanking you around from anywhere. But sometimes there is a possible chance, while like some unfortunate situations can happen. But just making sure watching your back is definitely the best possible thing you can do. But over here, if you take a look at inside the house, I feel like Xbit is definitely going to be harder, having a harder challenge to take CNC down, because Xbit does really have less HP, and it's going to be harder to like take them down inside the houses. But doesn't really seem like both of the teams really want to be too aggressive and just give their frags away easily. But what they're losing here is their crucial time that they could have utilized, either contesting those vehicles, getting those vehicles in their hands, or getting a lot more utilities, and at the same time getting a lot more loot in. As soon as they are done with this fight, I feel like they have to start moving for a better rotation or better position inside the zone.
No. How long are they going to hold out for? They need to realize that they need to get some loot on them. You cannot survive in those end circles, at least not with that much amount of HP. And I've been saying the same thing over and over, and I might sound like a broken record over here because, you know, whoa, that's a stun grenade. I was just happy about it. But at the same time, you know, the teams need to understand this. These are the times where you need to get the loot on you. Okay, fine. You've got your one player down. You're in a very, picky situation, but you did get him up. Retreat. As simple as that. I mean, again, PXBet wasting so much time, wasting so much valuable time that they can loot. CNC, of course, Genocide not really having the time, not really feeling themselves today. They've got nothing to lose over here, to be honest. But, you know, PXBet, of course, they're in a better position. They've got a lot of things online. They need to be in a decent position, at least be in those run for those top 16. And I would consider, you know, staying in the top 10 to kind of cement your way towards regional finals. But well, it is what it is. It's a
Exactly.
decision coming to the
The
IGL.
girls are dropping in. One of
Yeah.
my favorite weapons, definitely. Well, at the same time, the level 3 backpack is so much more useless because I'm really like a kind of person who likes to keep those meds with me whenever I want because, you know, sometimes I just have to carry my own teammates. I do the hard carrying work. But if we take a look at this care package, Groza, we all know lethal weapon when it comes to close and mid-range. You can just beam people across the map. But the care package is in a really open ground, and I don't think so anyone is going to be trying to go for the care packages since the whole time we haven't seen any team actually trying to contest those care packages because it doesn't really seem like anyone actually cares about them. But now, if we take a look at the other teams, it's like all the teams might have a little bit of harder time getting inside the zones because I feel like we have seen a lot more damage done in those early games. But at the same time, there have been some teams who have capitalized on those situations and are moving inside a safer position and just being safe overall. Beautiful 3x spray coming in from the M4, but doesn't really seem like it's going to be able to connect on anyone. Jerry, in a really bad spot, is going to be getting caught in open ground. Beautiful shots coming in from the compound there. Team 16 was definitely a little bit flinched. I'm pretty sure their heart must be pounding at this time because if they must have lost Jerry, that would have been a massive casualty for them. Team 16 would have lost a teammate early off bat.
Yeah, I mean, Team 16, of course, if you're talking about them. Well, they've had their good matches, right? The first game really going in their favor, but finally, I believe the deadlock has been broken. PX Bit going after CNC Genocide and getting a few kills confirmed. And the moment it happened, we are not in that fight. Yes, finally, we back on. So Max launching that grenade, trying to delay things over here as he wants to get that revive onto its Cooney. But how do you fight after that? You've got nothing to really work out with. But ALK9, they've got a good compound for themselves. They've got a good position in the circle. Now, this is how I want teams to, you know, work out. Because one good thing about ALK9 and the other bad thing about ALK9, they're very quick with the rotations, but at the same time, they do not have enough loot to work around with.
Doesn't really seem like XC is able to connect any of the shots on the vehicle, even if they're right next to them. XC has been falling short, but at the same time, as I talk about that, there comes those 2 knockdowns. But I feel like most of them have been because they just fall out from
they were just scared.
Yeah, they were just scared and they accidentally dropped out from the vehicle. But that's definitely going to be helping XC a lot more in getting those points in their hands. SLX is making a lot of mistakes since all these games that we have seen, but at the same time, they do have some serious talent as well. But SLX is just being like unfortunate overall, but at the same time, if we take a look at one shot, he's just going to be the person who's going to be stealing all the kills. He just does gets like a free 1 or 2 points for himself and his team, and that's going to be securing an early game kill point for his team, while his teammates are definitely quite proud of himself for doing that. While AL, Hassan, and his team has the compound in their hand, but CNC Max is going to be getting 1 kill down. Is not going to be able to quite be finished that, but Max barely survives, but still, Koppa is going to be taking Max down, and that's going to be CNC eliminated off early in the game as well. CNC hasn't really been putting up a performance in all of these games, so I didn't really expect much from them, to be honest, going inside this game. What I'm really expecting is, as we talked about, TRZ. I personally love that team a lot because I have seen them play, as we talked about, like their tactical play and the way they play is absolutely good. At the same time, they are tactical, but at the same time, they are really aggressive. But as what we talk about being aggressive, doesn't really seem like TRZ or ERZ have been like showing so much early aggression in this game, because if we take a look at the bottom left in the map, they are still getting in those vehicles and still making those crucial rotations for their team. And maybe they have something else going on in their mind. We never know. We can never guess what's going on in these players' mind, because they're, of course, the professionals. They know what they're doing. But all we can do is just make our guesses.
Yeah, but right now we can see the circle kind of going towards where all these teams have planned themselves out. That is towards the shelter. Now, things really get interesting when you have shelter in contention, because it's just not the upper ground, but you've got those underground compounds as well, where you can just traverse around, where you can just juke your enemy. And as long as the circle does not hit you, you're fine, you're safe. And we did see a lot of teams over there, but A1 Esports, they're just traveling around the map. And XCVS, Fahim having spotted them out. So, kind of a few mistakes being made by these players, why they're not connecting their shots. Fahim finally rectified it, you need to kind of crouch down or either prone in to have a good recoil control. But XCVS, oh, that was a beautiful knock coming in from Yamin Bhai. And now, Bhai brothers are finally on with the push. A1 Esports is a big name. They have to be really careful. They will have to get the numbers in before really committing.
Exactly. I mean, as you said, you need to prone down. But one thing I would like to point out, Fritz, is that you are not really in that situation. What just happened?
It just sticked right to his head.
What did you just do there? Fahim, you just completely just obliterated Saeed off there. And I feel like even Fahim himself is like, what did I just do? What just
He was
happened?
surprised.
Yeah, even himself is just surprised. If you just look at him, he's just sitting there. He's like, what just happened?
Guys.
How did I get that knockdown on Saeed there? But at the same time, if we take a look at, oh my god, Team 19 is getting pushed by BB here, who's going to be coming out on top, which is definitely going to be interesting to see because it's a 3-on-4 situation.
You know what they're doing?
What?
They're blocking them off. They're blocking their exits. They're just going to blow these vehicles. A1 Esports, they're going to get clustered. And, well. They need to find another exit out. And that's going to be difficult considering the fact that there are a lot of people under the shelter. Now this might go either ways, to be honest.
This is actually such a rude move to just like, so imagine like if you're in Team 19's shoes here, they have no clue what exactly is going on over here. And when the zone's moving in the last second and they have to make those rotations inside the circle, they come here in the last second. The zone's like literally behind them. And they just see this completely blocked out. What are they supposed to do? Go back all the way across and rotate? Of course not. They're going to be losing a lot more HP. Well, it's like this is what BB has done here. And I feel like it's so good. It's just so good. Well played like from BB. I'm not going to lie. This is just some next level stuff.
You know, we've seen this kind of strat in the past as well, you know. A lot of teams really going cheeky with that. But some of the other time, you know, you get to see these teams finding another exit route. But that was that one grenade. Well, BB really delivering a message that do not even try it. Do not even try to peek at us. But look at that curveball completely going on towards the western side. And a lot of teams have the better of the circle over there. And ERZ, they've got the best spot again. And look at that. No one's behind them. Teams are right beside them. A few teams right ahead. But they can just go in.
He's literally dancing.
Yeah. I mean, they don't care.
They're having a fantastic time inside the bunker.
Yeah, I mean, when your death is near, you know that you're gonna die. What do you do?
I mean, I wouldn't really like to say their death is near. I just feel like they're just wiping out inside the bunker. But at the same time, as they're wiping out, it seems like Yashiro is not having a great time behind that car there. He's going to get picked off instantly. Now, PS...
All right.
Can we just...
It's got the moves, though. All right.
Yep, they both are just... I feel like at this point, they literally know we're spectating them and they're doing this on purpose. But hey, it's just a show for viewers to watch. It's just something new. But at the same time, just take a look at like one shot and his team's positions. It's like they are covering all the entrance spots while at the same time all the exit spots. But one thing they don't know what BB has done is like completely block off their positioning. But as we talk about, beautiful shot coming in from Demon. Already 2 players knocked out for Team 5.
But, you know, let's see what's going to happen. You know, XC, they're kind of in a sticky spot. And, well, team number 18, oh my goodness, fine. He's going with that spray, not really connecting, missing a lot of shots. I would love to see his shot accuracy today. But Sweet Love taking down Stalker, error 404. Well, now equipping that 4 times on his TP28. TRA, they might just be in a bit of a trouble, but, you know, XC, they're still in a good position. They're still taking the fights really well. ALK9, they still have the compound in contention. Now, inside that small shack, they're all going to be punished. Imagine one beautiful grenade and kaboom, 3 players just get blown up. And we have Sweet Love also, you know, making it towards his teammate. But 3 teams in contention. Sidekick somehow surviving by the whiskers. The moment he goes out, he'll be greeted by Execute 69, who's just waiting for him as the cavalry for CSR comes closing in. And a lot of gunshots being spread over there, but not a knock coming out from it.
Exactly. I mean, if you take a Q at 69, what are you doing there? No one cares about you. no one knows, and no one's going to be expecting that man to be here. It's literally two teams battling each other, and Execute 69 has been capitalized on and is going to be taken down by CSR. Now, that was expected. Devil with the Tommy gun spray. As you talked about yesterday, dude,
Yeah.
Tommy guns have been getting a lot more priority in these games, and at the same time, yeah, as you talked about, there's like a lot of like magazine capacity. You can just keep on spraying people in close range, and even on your that are on your face. Now, one thing Tommy gun really has, or any SMG that has, is the hipfire accuracy.
Yes.
They are absolutely precise when it comes to that. Like, they are, like, for example, if you take AR, right? We're comparing the stats from 100%. So AR has 50% of hipfire accuracy. So
Right.
now, if you take a SMG, it has 70 to 75%. Now, you see how much of a big difference when it comes to using SMG is on the hipfire accuracy over here. So, of course, getting those Tommy guns in those early games, or even in those late games, to be honest, like when the circle's closing down and it's like shrinking really smaller and smaller, Tommy gun's definitely going to be in use as the circle goes down much, or either even getting those early fights as well. But if we take a look at CSR, they have a lot of their vehicle cover, and at the same time, BB seems like they are getting in a fight soon, and yeah, all they have to do is just hold outside the bunker area that they have already been. It seems like they already unblocked the...
No. So this is a completely different
Oh,
team
this
now
is
that they're dealing with. So,
Okay,
but
my
you know,
bad.
carrying forward with the discussion we were having about the SMGs, why I love the Tommy gun in the final circles. You've got that red dot on, you've got that word grip, you've got the suppressor. It's a laser. It's a laser. And at the same time, you can deceive your enemy. It does not know where are the shots coming from. So, you know, a lot of ups to the Tommy gun right now being used by a lot of teams. And same goes for the guns like Uzi. We've not seen UMP being really popular after, you know, the chambers had been kind of shifted to the .45 ACP. But Jerry finally taking a dig onto its A1 Esports Sharp, as finally they've realized that, you know, my brothers were not just the only team inside those, just outside of the shelter compounds. Now, XCVS, they are trying to kind of delay the push coming out from A1 Esports, but seems like they have built their own death coffins as they're trying to burn themselves, in fact, in their own Molotov.
Exactly. I mean, especially if you take a look at that guy who was out in the open and was barely just surviving. I was just like probably remembering God at this point. He's like, God, please let me survive. I just want to get those survival points for my team. Well, at the same time, he wasn't really able to successfully do that. But we are seeing Team 9 and Team 12 in the fight. Danger goes down. Hassan goes down. Team 9 is in a massive trouble there. But at the same time, Team 9 does have the capacity to get the res on their teammates, while Captain is capitalizing on all the Team 12 situation, and Team 12 is going to be eliminating Team 9 completely. While as we see, Mad Max is on 3 kills domination. Yeah. While now we take a PSR, a man blanks, BB has 1 kill as well with the nade. So these are the opening skill that these guys are getting for the first time with donates and stuff. But CSR, one player from CSR is going to be eliminated. That's -1 player for CSR right there. Not going to be quite happy about the casualty happening. Stalker going to be busting the vehicle down, making sure the enemy team is not going to be busting it on his face when he's taking the tactical cover and trying to heal himself and his teammate up. Now Winter, and seems like they don't really have a good amount of utilities, neither any kind of heals, because yeah, as we talked about, the zone shift is quite in the open. There's like not even that many trees going on in forward, but at the same time, there are some people who are being really annoying who have the cover. At the same time, just doing that tickle damage, just keeping on shooting from those long range, spraying those 6x sprays, and with those stuff like that. While as we take a look at KS Maharaj, and like KS is actually having a little bit of tough time staying alive, getting the res on their teammates. And SLX is actually like, yeah, we haven't been giving them a much limelight here because they know that there is a team right on top. And as we were talking about, ERZ They do. I feel like they do know the teammates. They do know the position of SLX. Beautiful nade coming in there. Going to be doing a little bit of damage, but it doesn't really seem like. But SLX co-out going down. Only the person alive is going to be Gentleman getting away and just trying to get inside the cover. But at the same time, he is exposed to a lot of people. Gentleman doesn't really have a good spot there, ladies and gentlemen. But at the same time, Gentleman is going to be trying to get that spot covered or trying to get that spot like at least smoked if he has the utilities. But doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case anytime soon. Mamba doing a lot of damage. At the same time, Ishan is down to really low HP. Ishan is just snaking around the bushes, barely trying to survive while his teammates are a little bit far away. And I'm pretty sure no one in this point in time has those utilities left. PSR Mad Max just trying to spot out any type of people that are looking at him, but at the same time getting shot from other angles as well. Blank BB getting one knockdown.
Yeah, he certainly has. And now we are finally approaching our end game. And look at how many teams are still alive. The 7th circle about to, be formed. And we will see where the shift is going. But CSR having spotted out the players of TRA. Now Sweet Loves has been taken down. They are in a whole world of trouble. Tarsin going out. And as we see, there is a whole squad that's been wiped out. But KSX, they're also taking a huge amount of beating out there. Because Asan has been knocked down by Gentleman, who will of course secure that kill. But wow, Sanhok, these are those new additions that have been made to provide that extra bit of a cover in those final circles. You need to know where your tents are, you need to know where those dips are, because it's Erangel 2.0. It's been quite some time. Chaser Revolution also getting eliminated on the 8th position though. Imagine surviving for 24 minutes and then just ending up with 3 points.
Exactly. Now, if you take a look at Winter, no one's literally expecting that man to be rat like that. Like, no one really has any kind of clue. But at the same time, if you take a look at PSR, they actually have a great positioning here. They have a whole ridge and their pit onto their name, and they can be literally rotating around anywhere they want. But also at the same time, TRA does have all their teammates alive, and they're going to be getting that raid certainly in as well. But they do have a lot of damage dealt onto themselves. Ishan barely surviving, knows that there is a man in front of him, bursting the car out, making sure it's not going to get busted in right on his face, and just getting that tactical res in while BB Tatmin or Tamim. Okay, yeah. My bad. It's really hard to pronounce. But at the same time, Tamim keeping an eye on the team as well. But Tra, Baby Shark, has been split a lot from his team, barely surviving as well. Everyone is running out on meds. They are not really satisfied with their conditions. No one is going to be at their ammo count as well and at their utility count as well. But at the same time, if we take a look at Dr. 404, he does really seem like he has a good amount of utilities, but at the same time, he does have a good amount of meds, like 2 medkits and 5 bandages, which is actually really good situation to be in such a late zone.
Yeah, that certainly is. Now things have really gotten interesting because, like you mentioned, Predator 8-bit. So they're kind of in a picky spot. They need to get inside the circle. I think it's just that one player surviving, and that's Winter. But it's Team PSR that are doing really well right now. I believe they're the Big Boss X. And there you go. The fight's already erupting out. Team TRA somehow still surviving there. And the Red Army, they've got a lot of things online. Pi Brothers, they've also got the numbers for themselves. And Mad Max is denying everyone. But Siddharth, he was way too much in the open, being punished. And now the meme, he would want that revive onto his teammate. As we have the final 2 teams remaining. Big Boss X, who've got a very good chance at getting the chicken dinner, courtesy to that beautiful zone that really formed onto them having that perfect ridge. They've got a lot of room to play around with, and Tamim going in for the spray, finally connecting on one. But the only problem is one good grenade or a rotation coming out from Mad Max, maybe just end things for them. But now we have the players of the BB rather going in for the push. Tamim really on low HP, finally being taken down, and Siddharth's last player surviving. Can he clutch it out?
It's definitely going to be a lot more harder for Siddharth to survive that, and that's going to be another chicken dinner.
Beautiful coming one. Beautiful chicken dinner coming out from the players of Big Boss X, I think this was completely anticipated, provided this way the circle really went in their favor towards the end. And, well, Big Boss X, they're going to enjoy themselves. 16 kills and, 31
Look at the total damage done. 2,400 25. That's a lot of damage. A total kill 16, while total points of 31. That's a lot of stats itself and a lot of points if we take a look at. But Big Boss X was definitely one of the unexpected teams that we never expected that would come out on top. At the same time, this is what I was talking about with you, that any team can literally come out on top. We never know what can happen because one thing I would like to point out was they really had one of the greatest positioning in the game.
Yeah.
Well, they were like struggling a little bit. They did get like one of their players knocked down, but at the same time, their support player was doing an absolutely fantastic job in keeping their teammates alive. But at the same time, yeah, Big Boss X wasn't really the one team that we were expecting. I really had my hopes on TRZ, but it's fine. Unfortunate sequences happen sometimes. And consequences has been dealt with. TRZ, I'm pretty sure, is going to be doing their best in the upcoming tournaments as well.
You know, we're talking about teams being really under tough situation. It was A1 Esports 1952 that was just held on inside that shelter. I mean, on one side we had the players of Bhai Brothers really blocking their exit route off, and then on the other side we had another team, you know, that's XCSV, really, you know, stopping them off, not really letting them go out. Let's take a look at the MVP of this particular game, and there has to be Vexy. From Big Boss X. Yep. Yeah, of course. 8 kills and 905 damage. So, again, those individual numbers really coming up. Those teams getting big on their chicken dinners, having those 16 kills and 50% participation.
And also not a lot of healing done. If you guys take a look, it's only 172. The
good positioning.
Yeah, good positioning, as we were talking about. Like, they literally had the pits on their name. And 109, like 905 damage done. Pretty massive numbers as we talk about, almost 1,000 if he did a little bit more, but maybe got unfortunate. It's fine. We can get back to that later. But 8 kills is absolutely a massive amount of number when it comes to, like, if you're securing those numbers for your team. But if we take a look at, I mean, like soon we're going to be taking a look at the top players. The top players, I feel like Big Boss is definitely going to be on these top players a lot more as we talk about. Yes, I knew that. As we talk about even at the first spot, as we saw the MVP, 8 kills, and another player from Big Boss coming in, it's going to be 5 kills and 918 damage done. It's going to be more than the MVP.
I mean, to be honest, Ovia, I think I really liked how Bhai Brothers played this one out, and they needed it. Of course, huge ups to the players of Big Boss X. I mean, it was the positioning, it was the patience, and they did have a lot of players alive towards the end. So that's a neat victory. That's a flawless victory coming in, and they did have the numbers even backing up. It was not like they just were kind of camping till the end, or were kind of hiding things around. They were taking those fights, but they were clever engagements. But Bhai Brothers, considering how their day has been going, this is a good spot to be in, getting those 4 kills. And even Fahim, with the kind of a start they had against the players of CNC Genocide, creating a lot of trouble for them. And at a point, it was kind of like a standstill. 10-12 minutes gone into the game and still nothing happening. Let's take a look at the match summary and see how these teams have fared off. And, well, Jerry with a 280 meta. That's nice.
Yeah, we did see Jerry get in some unfortunate situations there when he was on their top rock. And as you were talking about, you have to get those recall controls when you need to prone down. But there is a massive disadvantage that you are just a sitting duck or a proning duck. You are way more vulnerable to damage, and you might just get headshotted by a DMR or sniper rifle. Of course, it's a bolt action, then you are going to get one-shotted. But at the same time, yeah, I don't really feel like crouching or proning all the time is the best choice you can do, because especially in games like this, you are going to be getting watch from all the angles with like snipers and DMRs from all across the place.
Yeah, of course. And the final game of Erangel, let's take a look, in fact, at the match ranking, and let's see how teams really performed in this final map. And, well, Big Boss X, of course, coming out on top, Bhai Brothers on the 2nd position. And Predator X-Bit, I really love how they fared off in this one, considering the kind of an early game that they had. And not a 3rd position, but still kind of compensated with those kill points. So this is where, the new point system really comes into play.
Exactly. I mean, the new point system, as we talked about, is definitely a lot more kill friendly. And I feel like it should be this way all the time, because it definitely promotes the aggressive players as well a lot more. When this is when the star players come in action. This is when they start showing their true colors.
Yeah, of course. It's just not the bronze that you need to rely. You need to also get your brains working in. You need to be smart and aggressive at the same time. And I think that's what Big Boss X did really, and they kind of justified why they deserve the chicken dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the Oppo moments and see how these things really came around. And right off the bat, we had the players, in fact, of PXBit really being under pressure early on, because here onwards, CNC Genocide did not have a lot to lose.
Exactly. I mean, oh my God, this spray was actually iconic, but it wasn't really him getting those
DP one was really, burst out.
Yeah. I feel like that was a little bit lucky, to be honest. That DP spray, when that came down, I felt like that was a lot more luck reliant than skill. But at the same time, controlling that recall isn't really like easy task to do with that with DP. I mean, sorry.
I mean, DP is one of those weapons in PUBG Mobile which is rather really easier to control than the PC counterpart. I mean, if you even just go with the stabs, it's kind of giving you a lot of damage, and all he needed was just that one bullet, and he was just peeking out, just took a shot. And like you mentioned, could be luck, could be sheer skill, you never know. It was just that pixel going around, and he even could not believe it when he took that shot. So a lot of surprising things really happened over there. But with that being said, Big Boss X walking off with a wonderful victory, ending things on a good note. But if we draw in the comparison between how teams perform, I kind of like how the teams from Group A and B were really performing, because today it was kind of a disparity. It was a clear disparity between the teams. To be honest, I really felt that they could have done a lot more. The teams that had to go up were completely up, and the teams that were kind of down were right down under. So nothing really happening in the between. But let's take a look at the overall rankings and see after the 4 games who is still on top, and that has to be XP Blood Legion, having the highest kills, having the highest possession points, 67 points. But ERZ, TRZ, like you predicted, they did take a jump, but not enough. They had a good chance of making it to the top spot had they been consistent throughout the 4 games.
Exactly, and I mean, as we were talking about all these teams, they have been putting on a show, as we were talking about since like a really long time. And overall leaderboards, yep, a lot of teams have been securing those higher spots for themselves. But even from Group A and B, they are not that like. I mean, I wouldn't say like they are really like those crucial players when it comes to like getting those spots reserved in for yourself. But if we take a look at Group C and D, they have been definitely breaking their records, and they are coming up top off Group A and B. Well, at the same time, this also proves one thing, that there is much more talent I feel like in Group C and D.
I mean, to be honest, I would like our viewers' attention onto the teams that were positioned around 12 to around 30. Not a lot of difference. It's just that one match. So a lot is not lost, Teams can still make a comeback. Teams can still go on top. I mean, they were sitting at barely 30. Then by the time we went towards around the teams around 28, 29, it was still that, I think, 24 points. So 6-7 points difference is easily doable. The competition is really close. But there you go. Things have really gone south for CNC Genocide X. I mean, they've played 4 games. They've just managed to get 3. And that you can say is still an achievement, because I do not know how this team is playing right now, but they need to make some massive changes in their gameplay if they need to qualify to the next round.
Exactly true. I mean, the team that have not been playing good, they of course need to make some changes more. And even the teams that have been playing good, they're not just going to be sitting and partying around. No, don't do that. You need to keep on sharpening up your skills, as just like you sharpen up your pencil when you get inside a drawing lecture, as we all did all the time, or as a teacher would have just scolded us all the time. But yeah, as we just do that, just keep on sharpening up your skill, keep on working around it, keep on making those new strategies. Don't be too predictable in upcoming tournaments, or you might just get capitalized on easily and you might just get read like a book.
Exactly. You did mention a point regarding being read on by all your opponents. So you need to try something different and every single time. But let's take a look at the individual players, the kill leaders that we have throughout, all the 4 groups, and has to be Mamba with the way he was performing throughout, being consistent.
True.
But same goes for Dominic and Gyro, and they've been rather even impressive. And XB Blood Legion is the kind of a team that has all their players really aggressive, really getting in the kill boats, getting those, possession points as well. And of course, Mahfouz, we did see that stellar performance coming out from him. yesterday in the map of Miramar, securing the chicken dinner. Of course, those 8-9 kills did help him in collecting the overall 11.
Exactly. I mean, we saw Dominic, Bot, and Gyro playing. Especially, I would like to point out Gyro's playstyle. Gyro is not really a person who's really scared of taking those fights, right?
Yeah.
But then I feel like Gyro is also the kind of person where his teams also scream a lot at him, saying that, Gyro, don't do this. If you drop down early, we're not going to be taking the responsibility at you. We're definitely going to be cursing you a lot.
You know, he's kind of the player that I believe, you know, Blood Legion are giving a free room to play around, because you've got players like Dominic who kind of tend to play from the back lines. You know, he's like the safer player. He's like, okay, Gyro, do whatever on Worth you want. I am there for you. I'm there to provide the cover fire. It's just like the same storyline that we had between 4 a.m. You know, Swanovo really going in aggressive and Suk providing him that support fire from behind. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally done with our matches for tonight evening, and now we'll be taking your leave, and we will be back tomorrow with new groups going against each other. So till then, take care, bye-bye, see you soon.
Let's get it.